India owning a share, a significant share, right? Like 18% of the share for a measly $1.8 billion, right? I get it, right? They're gonna, run the airport. They're gonna be making the money back through all the non-commercial flights. I'm talking about all the imports, exports, right? So every time we were talking, oh, Kenya's gonna lose this airport to China if they don't pay back their debts. No, Kenya is losing it to India right now through the Adani Group out of choice because we are broke. And it's really hard to talk about this, but we are broke. We don't know how to fix this problem. Anyways, let's go ahead. Let's watch a part of the beginning statements, and we'll open up the chat so that people can come and weigh in. All opinions are welcome as always. And I've been away for a bit, but we're back for our everyday's programming, even though it's not scheduled.
Is in the headlines for its investment offer to the Kenyan government towards the expansion of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, in Nairobi. Now, Adani Airport Holdings Limited seeks a 1.85 billion US dollar.
Give me a second. Let me just sort something for
Investment to upgrade Kenya's main airport, which is also.
Just give me a second. I'll sort it out.
Is in the headlines for its investment offer.
Give me a second. I'm not sure how to fix this problem.
The Kenyan government towards the.
Good. I've solved it. Let's go ahead. Let's get it.
Investment offer to the Kenyan government towards the expansion of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, in Nairobi. Now, Adani Airport Holdings Limited seeks a 1.85 billion US dollar investment to upgrade Kenya's main airport, which is also the busiest in East Africa. Now, the proposed public-private partnership comprises the improvement of JKIA passenger terminal, the building of a new one, construction of a second runway, as well as improvements to the taxiway and apron. So here's a quick look at Adani Airport Holdings. First, the Indian company is a subsidiary of Adani Enterprises, which is owned by the Adani Group, one of the largest conglomerates in India. Adani Group was founded by the Indian billionaire Gautam Adani in 1988, and it has 10.
Bro, this nigga is literally called the GOAT man. Right? How are you gonna go against someone whose name is legitimately the GOAT? Right? That's difficult, right? The guy is a GOAT, right? He's much richer than our brother Dangote, right? He's investing in multiple different countries and companies. As he said, he's the GOAT man, right? That company that he founded, right? The Adani Holdings, right? All the enterprises, the group, the whole thing is worth over it's actually worth over $200 billion, right? That's how much this company is worth. Yeah, and I think that's it, right? So $1.8 billion is around 200 billion Kenyan shillings, right? So the Kenyans were like, yo, you're trying to tell me we don't have Kenya is a multi-trillion, tens of trillion-dollar Kenyan shilling economy. So they were like, how can we not figure out 242 billion Kenyan shillings? And I keep telling them on TikTok, and these people don't seem to believe me for whatever it is. Our currencies are useless in the international market. Shout out to you. What's good, Jan Zola Shalom. We don't have the money. We don't have the money. We just don't have the money because our shillings can't be bought. Now, I'm not agreeing with the government for selling the airport. I think it's actually a very short-sighted move. That's a whole separate discussion. But let's go ahead. Let's watch the presentation, and then we'll open up to the panelists to add. Again, guys, make sure you like, share, and comment.
Conglomerates in India. Adani Group was founded by the Indian billionaire Gautam Adani in 1988, and it has 10 companies in its fold. Its investments span mining, ports, training, electricity, and gas. Adani Airport Holdings itself was established in 2019, and it says its aim is transforming airports into world-class travel ecosystems. Within just 5 years of its inception, the company now manages 7 top airports in India. The company says it manages at least 25% of the number of people arriving and departing in India and about 33% of the national air traffic cargo. But Adani Group has also been at the center of controversy in recent years. In 2023, for instance, the conglomerate was accused of fraud and market manipulation by an American research firm, which saw it drop from.
Now, for those who don't understand what market manipulations are, I can give you some basic examples. What it basically means is you short the market, or you long the market, right? What that basically means is you start to sell shares at a unprecedented rate to drop the market share, then you yourself buy back those shares at a cheaper rate, and then the company goes back up because now you're releasing more investments. It's a very simple example of how a type of market manipulation can occur, right? So they've been accused by American research firms of that. There's a lot of controversy around this
being
group.
India's most valued conglomerate. It was valued at $206 billion, but that figure went down by $104 billion. Now, Adani Group's valuation has since gone up back to over $200 billion. In May last year, India's market regulator, the SEBI, dropped its probe into the Adani Group. The watchdog said investigating the alleged illegal overseas investment in the conglomerate was a hard task. The Adani Group has also been accused of political corruption, tax evasion, environmental damage, and suing of journalists. Additionally, Mr. Adani's close relationship with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also led to accusations of cronyism. Now, this is because his firms have won many energy and infrastructure projects.
I mean, this is how things are done, right? Billionaires and millionaires, to reach a certain level, you are going to be part of a political class whereby they allow you basically to get the contracts, right? These tenders that governments release, certain people have to sign them, whether it's governors, senators, it doesn't matter which, however your system is structured. If you are in bed with the most powerful people in the country, you are going to get these contracts. Right now, Dangote is suffering from an adverse effect. For whatever reason, he's pissing people off in Nigeria. And right now, they're coming for him. Right? They're already accusing him of being a monopoly. His oil and gas refinery system that he's created, they're coming for him right now. I'm talking about the Nigerian state owned enterprise. They're coming for him, right? Right now, they want to buy off the thing and control it themselves, right? Again, there's a lot of things going on when you're a government puppet, and if you don't maintain your status quo, they will come for you.
Ever since Modi became India's prime minister in 2014. Now, Citizen Digital has obtained documents showing that Adani seeks a build, operate, and transfer agreement, also known as a BOT agreement, with the Kenyan government. This will see it run JKIA for 30 years while it recoups the investment at a rate they agree on. During these 30 years, the Indian firm wants to determine and collect charges for non-aeronautical and other commercial activities as JK.
Oh, basically export, imports, taxes. A lot of that stuff is going to go to them. We don't know exactly what the contract stipulates, right? But if I'm importing car in Kenya, to Congo, to Rwanda, any of these countries, Uganda, etc., that are linked to the Kenyan airport, all that money is going to be going to them. So they're going to recuperate the money, obviously, within the 30 years, way more than actually how much they put down. And also, after the 30 years, Adani Group, whatever conglomerate that they are, is going to actually be left owning a whopping 18% for life. That's what the contract, as far as we've been able to, figure out, is stipulating. All because we, for some reason, can't raise we can't raise $1.8 billion.
IA without restrictions from the Kenyan government. This is until it hands the airport back to the state. Adani further seeks special, friendlier tax policies and exemptions from corporate tax for quote unquote certain years. So, what has the Kenyan government said about Adani's offer? Well, the Kenya Airports Authority, KAA, says the deal requires significant capital investment, which the government cannot afford currently due to financial constraints. It should also be noted that the proposed deal has sparked heavy criticism from civil society groups and Kenyan legislators who argue that such a deal is essentially selling JKIA. However, KAA holds that the process will go through rigorous reviews to ensure it complies with the Kenyan law. Now, for more on this and other stories, check out the Citizen Digital website.
Okay, okay. That was one of the videos. There's just one more short one that I want to watch before we let people kind of chime in. But this is the issue in Africa. As I said, there's something called a Eurodollar system. We are stuck. We honestly, and this one is on Ethiopia, right? It's a similar thing. It's nothing to do with airports, but the abstraction is the same. Let's go ahead. Let's get it. And
Ethiopia's currency has fallen 30% today as the Ethiopian government allowed their currency, the birr, to float on the international markets for the first time in decades. But this really wasn't Ethiopia's decision. Their hand was forced by the IMF, World Bank, and other groups who have offered the African nation $10 billion in a combined loan package if they dropped protectionist policies for their currency. The IMF is certainly excited, with their managing director stating that this is a landmark movement for Ethiopia.
remember what we talked about, right? In December 2023, Ethiopia was unable to pay something called a coupon. A coupon is usually it's a bi-yearly, twice a year payment of interest rate when you take on a treasury bond or bill, all those kinds of stuff. So Ethiopia took a few $1 billion, right, in treasury bonds, right? Um, or rather, they issued treasury bonds and people took it and they had to pay it back, right? So what happened, unfortunately, is because of that, Ethiopia had to declare themselves bankrupt. So IMF came in and said, oh, we'll give you some money so that you can even pay off your debt to the Eurobonds. However, you have to change things. Ethiopia has been one of the few African countries that was free, right, from basically allowing foreigners to come in and own their country and control the economy. It was, right? Ethiopian banks, all these systems that existed basically were running quite well in Ethiopia, right? You have the banks are owned by Ethiopia. You had the monetary systems. Everything in Ethiopia was basically state owned or private owned by the people. Even if you look at the Great Renaissance Dam, right, the dam project, Ethiopia issued out bonds, right, treasury bills, sorry, and bonds, right, to its own population. That's how they were able to finance a multi-billion-dollar, one of the largest hydro dams in the world, right? Because they offered it to the people, so that Ethiopians abroad or those who had savings in euro dollars were able to help purchase it and basically build Ethiopia without taking debts from external places. Ethiopia was one of the greatest countries in terms of autonomy and sovereignty. However, because they weren't able to pay a few Eurobonds because of the war that happened between Ethiopia and Tigray. Right now, you have the Amhara Fano coalition, you have the Oromo Liberation Front. All these militias have now made Ethiopia bankrupt because they've had to take more debts in order to maintain peace and security. So right now, IMF told them, bro, we will help you pay off some of these loans, right? But you have to change things. Right now, a Kenyan company, Safaricom, actually won a tender, right, in order for them now to start operating as a telecommunications company in Ethiopia. Now, it's good that it's an African company, right? Safaricom is majority owned by Africans. It's owned by Kenya, South Africa, and also a UK company called Vodacom, Vodafone, whatever, right? So it's still a majority African company. However, right now, Ethiopia, which has been controlling its monetary system really well, has had to open itself up to its currency floating in the market. And because of that, they've lost 30% of its value immediately already. So it is kind of interesting. Let's finish the video, then we'll open it up.
So let's talk about what is meant by a float, why is Ethiopia making this change, why Western organizations, including the IMF and World Bank, allocated over $10 billion to get Ethiopia to float the birr, and what ties the financial decision makers in Ethiopia have to the West. A currency float simply means that a currency can be exchanged on foreign markets. For the past few decades, the Ethiopian Central Bank has been opposed to allowing the birr to be floated. The previous two governors were in favor of policies that isolated the currency from speculators and foreign entities. For the past few decades, Ethiopia was fairly successful in this regard, at least on paper, but this policy also caused currency shortages, led to black markets springing up for foreign currencies.
So let me give an example, right? Ethiopia has what we call a black market, right? Some other countries have it. Burundi is another example. Kenya, we don't really have a black market, right? We have people who can engage in black market, but we don't have one. If you go to Ethiopia, you go to Mexico, right? It's a region in the capital Addis Ababa. You can literally go on the street. There'll be some young men who are going to give you a huge. For example, if $1 is 55 bid, right? They're going to give you $1 and give you like 80 bid, right? Because they know that in a few months, the currency would have depreciated by a certain amount and they can sell off the dollars to the government or anyone else who wants or needs it, right? Because in Ethiopia, it's illegal, or rather, it's against their policy to let you send dollars or euro dollars outside the country. You can't, right? The only time you can is if you're a student or you're a high ranking merchant where you need to purchase certain goods. However, if you're just a normal Ethiopian, you can't send money abroad. It's not allowed, right? There's no system to, like, you can't even join PayPal easily, right? Unless you do some, whatever black market stuff. So Ethiopia is a very heavily controlled market, and there is a black market, right? You don't go to the official banks to exchange your money. You go to the black market.
And the central bank often found themselves restricted by the mandate to maintain the exchange rate above all else. The reality is that this monetary policy did make it more challenging for international businesses to make investments in Ethiopia. The World Bank and the IMF did not like this, nor did certain business interests, and they believed that if Ethiopia would drop this protectionist policy, that they would see GDP growth and thus a greater ability to pay their debts. Yet they could never convince the previous administrations to float the birr. Fortunately for them, the current Ethiopian government has deep Western ties. The current head of the central bank was previously a.
No, it's not because they have, Western ties. It's because they're broke. Anyways, let's open up the conversation. I don't know if you're ready to give your point of view. Strictly Travel on both the Kenya selling the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, as well as Ethiopia floating their currency. We saw what happened to that Nigerian naira. Nigerian naira went from $1 is how much was it, like 200 naira or something, or no, 400 naira, to right now is like $1 is like 1,800 naira, and its highest peak of 2,000 naira. So clearly, this is a way for IMF to destabilize African currencies, because now they're, claiming that it's now trading in international market. Yeah, what's your thoughts on the conversation so far?
Hey
Yes.
guys. Okay, go ahead.
Greetings, all. Greetings, all. Very interesting. Very interesting. I think, I mean, the job that you're doing, I mean, it's really really amazed me, actually, just listening to how you've really broken down how you can't really function without the euro dollar. It's amazing. So I'm thinking, in what way, what would be the benefit if more people understood what how would it change the lives of, say, the ordinary Kenyans and ordinary Africans? What would they do if they knew and understood what you were saying?
Good point. Good point. I think immediately what would happen is, for example, let's use Kenya, right, as an example, um, or even East Africa in general, right? Ethiopia refused to join the East African community because of egoism. They see themselves as a big dog, and they're competing with Kenya. Somalia joined because they are small countries. So if Ethiopia, for example, Kenya and all these countries did join the East African community and form a monetary coalition, we wouldn't need the euro dollars, right? The issue is, right, Africa is divided between 56 countries, right? I want to include Somaliland and also Western Sahara in there, right? They're not officially recognized, but I don't really care. So Africa is about 56 countries. Now, each of these countries, most of them, not all of them, operate within their own currencies. Yes, some of them have the CFA, which is actually controlled by France. Now, that's even a worse problem, right? So if you have most of these countries with independent central banks and monetary systems, when they trade in international markets, none of them have leverage. So if each region had its own currency, its own like regional central bank, what would happen is that our currencies will now become useful not just within Africa, because now they could be accepted between multiple African countries, but also trade within India, China, Russia, America, and Europe, because now Europe has a stake. If you have, again, like a coalition, the markets, when you integrate the markets and then you have a regional currency, we wouldn't have a euro dollar problem. I mean, that's what the Europeans did, right? Europeans are part of the American hegemony of imperialism known as NATO. However, they themselves also understand, through tribalism, right, intra regional tribalism, that actually they can't always rely on America. So they create the euro. The euro has become successful. It's eaten up 20% of the market. They
Right,
trade within the euro. Even Americans will accept the euro. Even the British will accept the euro. However,
right,
for us in Africa, most trade, and I would say Africa loses around, is it 5 or 6 billion actual dollars, right, every year, just on the fact that the percentages of foreign exchange. Okay, let me give a very example. If I want to go to Tanzania, officially, if I go to a Tanzanian bank or a foreign exchange place, I have to buy the dollar first. Then they give me the Ugandan shilling, because we don't like this idea of kind of holding on to each other's currencies. So
Right.
every time some kind of international trade goes on in Africa, there's either dollar, there's euro, there's pound, there's some kind of international market. I mean, currency traded. So to
Right.
answer your question, if the average African understood this, they'll be pushing for de-dollarization. But they won't, because they don't understand this. I went to TikTok today, right? Just generally speaking, I see these videos. I explain to them, no, they're like, oh, wait, Ruto must go, which is fine. Say what you want about Ruto, but when Ruto is not an idiot, he knows why he's doing these things that he's doing, and whether you agree on it, that's a separate discussion. But you can't go in with ignorance. We don't have dollars in our banks. We can't buy anything without dollars. The Kenyan shilling is useless outside of Kenya. You can't even
Right.
use it in your. So
Right.
for me, I say, to answer your question simply, we do need to have a very tough conversations in Africa. You can't talk about liberation without actually having financial sovereignty.
Yeah.
Kaizo, I have a question for you. You mentioned something about common currency. Isn't what they tried to do with the CFA franc is not the same?
Yes, it is simpler. I mean, it's similar. Yes.
But it hasn't worked well neither. Seems like it. You know,
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
no, the CFA franc is not a strong currency neither. So it's useless outside the member country.
Okay, good. So good addition there, right? So with the CFA franc, actually, it is one of, if it's a top two strongest currencies in Africa right now, and I can prove it, right? So let me explain what I mean by strongest currencies right now and what that means. So if you look at, let me show you currency across time. So let me show you. Let's start off with a weak currency like Nigerian naira, right? Across time. So let me show you this. The CFA franc has actually shown to be one of the strongest currencies because it doesn't fluctuate. It doesn't change across time.
That
It's
is a
actually
fact.
very, yes, it's very
Yeah.
gradual. Now, what that means is all these countries that, because several countries use it, what they've, at the very minimum, what they've done is they've stabilized themselves within a certain what do you call it, amount. What that means in theory is if these countries now also integrated their economies, they could then leverage international trade. But the problem is they're controlled by France. The French central bank is in charge of that currency. So that's
Right.
what
So
the
that's
French
why
central
it's stable. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's why
that
it's stable.
but what
It's backed up by the euro. That is
it's
correct.
backed by the euro and France and the French economy. So really, it is a French, as in France, currency, and it is very stable. It's one of the, next to Moroccan money, it is one of the most stable currencies. So let me show you naira first, and you see.
And Kaiso, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that all
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you repeat that? Can you hear me?
can you hear me,
I can hear you
Kaiso?
now. Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying that I believe that all the member countries of the CFA zone are required to deposit 30% of the into the French central bank. Right? Is that correct?
I think it's more than 30%. I thought, as far as I knew, it was 70. Maybe it's changed. Maybe now it's 30%. But
No,
from what I knew,
it's more right.
go ahead.
I think you're right. I think it's like 70%. I can't remember. And it was
As far as
okay.
So
yeah.
can
So
I go on?
go ahead.
Go on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Put that chart up there. So you see that chart. You see that the naira is sinking. So if you go back even a number of years, the chart going the same chart, make it. Can you make it go from the 80s or from the 90s?
No, not in this one. But the naira was stronger than the dollar in the 60s.
Right.
It was
Okay.
actually stronger. The Kenyan shilling
Yeah.
was strong against the pound as well in the
Exactly.
60s.
Right. Because
So
I
there was
did that chart.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I did that chart myself, and I could see the trend has been continual fall of the naira in comparison to the pound and the US dollar for more than 20 years. It's a downward
Mhm.
trend. Right. So is it not, if you are able, as a basic principle, to predict certain movements in business and
Hmm.
finance, you can make money.
Yes.
So, right. So, I don't understand if it's so clear for so long that the naira has been sinking consistently and it will appear it will continue to sink. Is there a way to um, make money on that?
That's a good question.
Well, yes, this is how the billionaires in Africa make money. They don't create value, right? There's no commodities that they're selling. There's no products that they're creating. This is exactly how billionaires are created in Africa, by betting against the currencies, especially at opportune times where they have inside information. Because remember,
Yeah,
if you
but
now, for example, hang on, if you float the currency, first of all, that means you're now putting the currency in international stock exchange. That means people can now bet on in the forex market. And for example, every time you put an African currency, it's going to lose value. So if these people, this is how these people become billionaires, because they're betting against our currencies the moment the IMF tells them to float them and put them into international
right.
markets.
So it's blatant, isn't it? It's so. I mean,
Yeah.
even earlier on, even the first time I came onto your um channel, I kept posting currency value in the chat, and that was ages ago. And I was saying back then, I even did a chart. So it's like it's so obvious that the naira is going to continue sinking. So I don't understand. There must be a way in which you can reverse it or reverse engineer the situation, knowing that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. You see, the reason I was thinking Buhari, the last president, caused Nigeria to sink. Buhari is the reason why the Nigeria is sink. He caused Nigeria to sink. Buhari, the cabal, is causing Nigeria to sink. And
Okay.
that's my opinion. Tinubu seemed complain. Tinubu brought Buhari in. So Tinubu's fault. He brought Buhari in. He caused Nigeria to sink. He brought Buhari in. If Tinubu, you see how Buhari was that, why he bring him in to be president? Now Tinubu is having taking effect of Brian Brahim. So he should blame himself for Brian Brahim. Because now Nigeria is going to shit now. The now is
Yeah.
going
Okay. But I want to challenge you on that. I'm saying that the naira has been sinking in value relative to the pound and the dollar for years and years and years. So different presidents have been coming in, different leaders of Nigeria have been coming. It makes a difference.
Hey, my brother, I
Exactly.
think,
He's just babbling. He's just
I,
completely
I
babbling.
think, I think if we this analyzing will never work in Africa. African leaders are stupidly corrupt. What you see now is about mismanagement of the economy of the country. Corruption. They're not
Fa-
investing in that place.
fantastically corrupt.
Thank you, my brother. Look, Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta was borrowing money left and right. Kenya was like his father. He then become his grandfather. Just like Nigeria also. Nigeria, look, when Kenya step out, Nigeria will step in. When Kenya step out, Nigeria will step in. The same problem Kenya is having now, the same problem Nigeria is also having. It's like they are both twins, but they try to outdo who's the most corrupt country in Africa. It seems like Nigeria is far more corrupt. Kenya kind of like dance around with their sweet mouth. Look, when you borrow money too much and you don't invest the money,
to.
and that money have to produce more money that you borrow to pay back your debt.
Yeah.
You have no money to pay back debt
Nothing.
because you swallow the money and bank it somewhere in
Yeah.
Singapore, bank it somewhere in London. All this
Right.
elite.
My,
That's why our currency is falling. You
Right.
understand me?
Right.
you see
Right.
what I'm
Go
Exactly.
on,
I
I.
agree. No. Yeah. So yeah, Kaiser. First of all, greetings, my brother. I'm glad you're back. Great to hear from you.
see my opinion. I think Tinubu
Kaiser.
wanted to do.
Yeah. Shout out to you. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
you good? You good there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm blessed. Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Forget the rest.
You,
That's it. Well, sorry, Igwe, I'm speaking now.
okay.
So my take on the situation in Kenya, guys, I think is a very dumb decision to sell that airport, because you just mentioned the amount of commodity. So now, if you're gonna, the average Kenyan wanna own a car, right? These people are gonna control the economy. I said that before, but you guys are like, nah, you're too pessimistic. I said this times and times. These people in general, those brown skin people I'm talking about, they have too much influence over there. You know, they want to control that place. You know, I know that from living here. I speak to some of them, right? So now you actually handing them over, you know, the whole thing. Because the reality is, you know, the custom. If you control custom, you control the country business. Simple as that. So the average Kenyan will not be able to drive a car, right? Because then if you import that car from
Because you won't be
England,
able to import anymore, like the taxes. Because remember, the government still has to get the taxes that they
yeah,
have from this airport, and
yeah,
now the
yeah,
Adani Group is also going to be making money. So basically, what's going to happen is
yeah,
any imported and exported good will
yeah.
now be double taxed. I mean, this is insanity. It's
So
going to
after,
cripple the
yeah,
economy.
after 30 years, they're gonna own 18% of it forever. Wow,
Yeah, but
wow.
I have a question. Why they couldn't?
You know, I'm gonna make you spoke, right? So, so if you just work that out, you know, that's a bad thing as it is. And this is a foreign, they're foreigners, they're foreign, right? For government to actually let some private business from outside the country to own that percentage is too much. That's number one. Number two, I think, you know, African government need to stop doing IMF. Until they stop doing it and they start getting rid of this debt, they need to all sit together and find a way to get rid of this IMF debt. It's what holding a lot of countries back, including Nigeria, Kenya, Zimbabwe, namely all these countries. So when you're in all these countries, because they're borrowing too much, IMF is a sharp loan. You know, people talk about how China is bad enough. At least China doesn't give African countries that kind of high interest, right? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. They do not. So by actually going on borrowing from the IMF as they always do, even the UK had the same problem during what they call it the recession time. So it's dumb. You can't give away your business. That's my take on it.
No, shut out, man. Yeah,
Can I
that's
ask
how.
a question
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go on.
to the panel? Okay, so I want to stay in solution mode. All right. So, what if for some reason we got together and we somehow knew what to do, and it resulted in the increase of the value of the naira, so that the naira became 1 naira for $1. Right.
But
Hold it. So if hypothetically we could do that, we increase the value of the naira to the dollar and to the pound.
you,
So it's 1 naira to £1 or one
you,
naira to $1. Uh, would would it still be necessary to get the euro? Would it how would that impact the
you,
euro?
Yeah,
you
so
see,
go ahead, Shuku, then I'll answer it.
yeah, I get what you're saying, but the issue, I think what's going on, Tinubu wanted, but it's a no to cut the pub. Tinubu wanted to go, but Tinubu scared the no, because if Tinubu wants to go, but not to scare the money they're gonna steal. That's the reason why. Tinubu wanted to go, but the North is holding Tinubu down, because Tinubu just not people
Why
get
you don't?
angry.
Why?
That's why.
Excuse me. Why do you blame Buhari and the North for every Nigeria problem?
No, but,
Nigeria have a
no, but
political
it's
and
a
a
fact.
corrupt. No, you're
Oh
not
man,
listening. You're
please.
very one-sided. Thank you. The reality is this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just biased in his opinion. So it's obvious
No,
for anyone.
I think Tinubu
Yeah.
wanted to, but
So
Tinubu
no.
scared.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a
Buhari
minute.
scared.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on. Buhari been in power in Nigeria. In fact, first of all, Tinubu did not put Buhari in power. Tinubu don't have 5% of the power to put someone like Buhari in power. You don't have it. Just make that clear. Number two, the problem in Nigeria, yeah, did not start from in fact Buhari or Jonathan. He went way back. If you look at the charts, you can see how many leaders
I get what you're saying,
have
but
let Nigerian economy down and the currency. So stop
Exactly.
making up shit.
Yeah,
It's
you're
talking
thinking too
rubbish, man.
small.
This guy do my head in.
I'm not. I'm here to fact. Anytime the South want to do something good, not all hold down. That's a fact. I'm not lying. Not all hold the South down. Someone do
What
good.
the
Not
South, listen, the South haven't
corrupt
got
by me.
anything that the North haven't got. The North got mineral resources,
I'm
they
sure.
got fertile land. Most of the food you eat coming from the North. Yeah. The only Nigerian economy does not heavily depend on the oil anymore. If that's what you're trying to boast about,
I
it's
just
about
feel like
only about 15 to 20% of the
yeah.
money coming from the oil. So most
I
of the
know,
population.
but here's the fact. Even the northern citizen people realizing the truth. People not realizing the truth. Realize the people they hold them down. They realizing the truth. The north
This
people
is
are
an
waking up
African
and realizing
problem.
the
This is not
politicians
just
hold them
North.
down.
It's
People
not
in
it's
Nigeria
just
are
Exactly.
realizing
This
that.
is
not
a bigger than
African
that.
problem. In
Yeah.
fact, who is the highest employer in the south of Nigeria? Is he not a northerner? Is it?
Huh?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Who is your biggest employer in the south? Is he not a northerner?
Okay, but who's
No,
yeah,
answer my
exactly.
question.
Yeah.
Is exactly? So what are you talking about?
But here's the fact. Why should they not control the oil in the south and all Nigeria that they so
Who does
polluted? Because they
the
control the oil.
Nigerian
That's what I'm
government
saying.
control the
That's
money,
what
the
I'm
oil
saying.
money, and the oil money will be distributed to every different state in the country, not just the south. So you again, you're failing
I
to
don't
make
know
a point.
why. I don't know why you're answering this guy.
He's
This
an
guy came
idiot,
here
man.
to play
To play
tribalism. My
tricks.
brother,
No, he
your,
come here to play tricks.
your
Tricks. He's playing
governor,
tricks.
your governor from the east, all this your governor, this your traitors from the east that is dealing with Nado Kando, that is begging that don't release him. You'd have got to deal with them first. Igbo man will be the one that will sell Igbo man out.
Thank you.
Your billionaires are being made rich because of the Northern Empire. All the other words they carry out to the Ato Eze or whatever
Yes.
is his name. Who
Yes.
gave it that? Who gave that well? Where did
No,
he
no
get the money?
honest. And
You
also,
don't know the Northern.
Ola,
It's
yeah,
easy to blame. It's easy to blame these people, but your
exactly.
people are very corrupt. Also in the other side, I
Yes.
bet
Yes.
more stop this. All of the corrupt. More stop this. Say, oh, now this, now that, now that.
Now this so,
This
now
one,
that sound, now this tribe.
Ugari better pass this one with the power. So
Listen,
Yes.
William.
Ugari better pass this one with the power.
During Buhari, you don't get people coming out in the street. The naira was
No,
stable, and also
yeah, food
it
was
was
cheap.
cheap.
Africans
Yeah,
are
you see
not.
no, hang on a minute before you come on. Yeah, so the problem that we're facing in Nigeria today is as you said, is some people in certain region who actually want to unleash mayhem on the people and start going out there protesting, and stuff like that. And he is coming there and pointing out, the protest is the agitation is coming from the Northerners. Northerners don't have problem with nothing, man. Listen to me. You need to stay away from their business. Most of your people in Nigeria, the people from the south is actually live in the north. So if the north is that bad, they will not be living in the north. You have more Igbos people living in northern Nigeria than you have Hausa that are living in the region. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, I think this is petty. I mean, this.
Petty,
Yeah, you're right. It's
you
petty.
understand what I'm saying? Yeah, you
Yeah,
come here to talk about bigger issue. This guy is just
yeah.
here
The
trying
north,
to start.
south, this leader, that.
Yeah,
This is beyond names. This is beyond names of particular leaders. Look
these
at the
dummies are
currency. Look at the
villagers.
start. Look at
But
the
this is the
money.
but Kaiser was actually narrating this at the introduction because I was listening to him.
Yes.
Partly is it tribalism, like when he was talking about Ethiopia and all this stuff. They know this country they don't get on. They got people in there that don't get on. Look at what's going on with Dangote as well. The man is trying to employ people, trying to move the country forward, and what the
Yeah.
Nigerian government done to him. And it's not only just Nigerians actually feel it's actually disgusting what Tinubu done to Dangote. It's the entire fucking black race looking at him thinking, what is this
Right.
guy doing? Is
Right.
Tinubu actually a sellout for the white man? Is Tinubu actually working, with the white people against holding black people down? Because how can he hold the guy like that down? Yeah, not letting the guy have the full access to the petroleum and refine it and sell it back to your people. Why?
Yeah. So
Well,
let's move away from
you rather work with the Western companies coming over there buying oil.
You are very, very corrupt. You are very, very right.
Yeah,
You
thank
see,
you.
when Tinubu came in, right?
Yeah.
All what he tried to do that Buhari did not participate on. He was trying to get legitimate from the white people. He was telling them, "I will offer you
Thank
anything."
you. Ola, you know what, my brother.
Buhari refused to float that naira. You understand me?
Yes.
Because the Western people want to make money out of that thing. What did Tinubu do? He float the naira as was just rolling in. Boom, Nigeria just get what is that. Buhari was, let me be honest, Buhari tried to hold on that economic very, very fast, controlled even. What did he, look, sometimes, if I hear somebody want to blame this, our problem, now for our people in the South, you understand me? Now, who they cause all this problem? Look at
Too
even
much,
the oil,
talking on action. Yeah.
even Dangote refinery.
Yeah.
One of them was disturbing. I don't know. It's Igbo also who are doing this import export scam. But brother,
Yeah.
look, fake mercy where they Nigeria.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
Igbo import now they keep fake mercy for Nigeria. But don't bring
Yes.
that tribalism coming to that thing again. I don't.
Yes.
People go drink Hennessy. They go run go hospital because then they
Yes.
go manufacture fake one for Aba.
Yeah.
You know,
But
more don't bring tribalism come here.
Ola, just to add up to what you just said, right? You know what? You're right, because Buhari was not a guy that is gonna his hand get bent down by any ruler. I've seen him travel around the world. I've seen the guy met the King of England here. He refused to bow down to him. He shake his hand looking at the man. You go on YouTube and watch. All the other leaders bow down. He's the only president who refused to come and sit in a post when the Queen was getting buried in the UK. He came after, because the King, Prince Charles, who was a Prince and King Charles now, he said he's his best friend. He said, come and see him. You come and see him personally. He didn't even bow his head towards him. These are the sort of leaders. But since Tinubu came in Nigeria, listen, I've never been anti-Tinubu person, but I'm looking at him, I'm observing him, I'm looking at his behavior, and I'm thinking, is this guy the real traitor of the black race in the 21st century? And I'm actually thinking, possibly he is the biggest traitor of the African race. I was actually against the Sahelian movement, but I'm actually looking at the people that was aligning with the West against the African children and the African people who want to move the continent forward. I'm thinking these people, their behavior is actually quite alarming. So it needs to be exposed. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
so
One
Kaiser,
second. Just before you go, I want to show this video. But before I just share this video and you go, I want to let the new guy come in. Michael, I'm not sure if you want to add a perspective. Then I'll share the video and then we'll go with Mr.
No, go ahead and
ICT.
play. Thank you very much. Play the
So I
video.
wanted to
I'm
add on
very
to this,
interested.
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
please
so this
play.
is actually furthermore part of this whole Eurodollar system that we ourselves are acting cannibalistic. So let me give an example what that means, right? The Nigerian state-owned oil company don't want to sell oil to Dangote right now. Now let me explain the situation, right? So Nigerian naira collapsed. Now I understand that, right? It was because of IMF telling them to free float their currency so that the central bank doesn't have control anymore. Now, the issue with that is the Nigerian government started becoming very desperate for dollars. So they forced Dangote, even the land. And here's what I'm talking about when I say cannibalistic. If you are going to do something, remember, Uganda's been trying to create an oil refinery for 20 years. It's gone nowhere. A lot of African countries have been trying this, right? Nigeria managed to do this because of the Dangote group as a whole, who are heavy investors in euro dollars. Let me make this very clear. Using euro dollars, they had several $billions. They borrowed some from banks, right? But they had several euro dollars in order to invest in this oil refinery. You cannot buy materials in naira from around the world. You can't. No one wants it, right? So what happened is the government of Nigeria was even being cannibalistic against Dangote. What that means is they made Dangote purchase the land for 100 million US dollars. It wasn't the naira equivalent. No, this is what I'm talking about cannibalistically. These African government are now eating into their own people and preventing them from rising. So because the country suffers from Eurodollar shortage, they also now make their own business people do it within Nigerian soil. The Nigerian government is selling you products in dollars. This is insanity. So right
Yeah.
now, Dangote is crying that he can't even get crude oil to process because a Nigerian state-owned company that drills the oil, the crude oil that they sell all around the world, is being sold in dollars to him. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't have the dollars. I need to keep that dollars to expanding across
Right.
the African continent. So let me just show you this video here. But that's the problem right now.
Thank
And
you.
the issue is,
Thank you.
right, let's see.
Yes, President Bola Tinubu has asked asked the state oil company NNPC to sell crude to Dangote refinery using the local Naira currency. Bayo Onanuga, the president's special advisor on information and strategy, said the proposal to sell crude to Dangote refinery in Naira was adopted by Nigeria's Federal Executive Council, FEC, on Monday, July 29th. Onanuga said in a statement on X social network, Dangote refinery at the moment requires 15 cargoes of crude at a cost of 13.5 billion US dollars yearly, and NPC has committed to supply 4 cargoes. The development comes after billionaire Aliko Dangote alleged that officials of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, were sabotaging his refinery. Dangote's
So let me interpret that again, right? Because we were
Oh
talking
my
about this
God.
to understand what's going on. Nigeria is selling crude oil, which is a zero value added product. Nigeria, instead of now investing and working with Dangote, since the Nigerian government owns shares in this new company, whereby you can now sell processed products such as oil, gas, whatever else comes from that refinery. They are so short-sighted that now they're becoming cannibalistic and forcing him to buy the crude oil in dollars. Instead, they'll rather go and sell and process oil around the world instead of now being able to become an oil refined seller. They can be selling to Kenya, all these countries. You think Kenya is not going to want to do a deal if Nigeria has constant supply of oil? Of course they can. But here's the issue with Africans sometimes. Our leaders are so backwards. Now they're forcing, again, remember this, Dangote Group is just one company, right? They're not going to have 13 billion US dollars every year to buy oil in dollars. Remember this, right? This is what I'm talking about, the euro dollar system. Even within our own country,
NNPC had refused to sell crude to his refinery, forcing him to import crude from as far as the United States. Currently, Dangote refinery.
Just listen to what's going on. You have the crude oil in your country.
Crazy.
You are forcing a company to import crude oil from
Listen, guys,
2000.
Tinubu, I've been on this platform. I used to have respect for the man, but you know what? After this, I think he is the biggest sellout to for the black race in the 24th century. He is. This is a company that could actually advance us in the entire continent. He just actually messed it up for his white bosses. You know what?
The white bosses. Blame the white bosses.
No, but I mean the West, the black and the white and the yellow man that sit in America or in Europe, who is telling him and controlling him like a pinball. You know what they promising him? What they're doing is, right? He think these guys are the ones that are going to keep him in power. And he don't understand these African countries. When it come down to it, the West will just watch you like Gaddafi. They will not give a fuck because they will not come to the ground to your rescue. If he knows, what the game is playing, it's actually quite dangerous. And I think the majority of the people in the north, looking at how he's dealing with Dangote, is not a good thing. And I think the only thing that's helping Tinubu right now because he's on the good side of the Emir of Sokoto. And even him, he's already started having backlash with the people, for actually having anything to do with this guy. Because what he's doing now is not just affecting Nigeria, it's affecting the entire West Africa. Because West Africa rely on Dangote, to finish his refining so they could actually move on. Dangote is not just in Nigeria, just to let you know, guys.
May I add one point?
Yeah, you can.
What's actually occurring about the 13.5 billion?
Just before you go ahead, let me just shout out to the super chat quickly. Shout out to Jan Zola. Appreciate the support a lot. Every dollar counts because you're helping the Kenyan economy. Every dollar that comes to me gets converted to Kenyan shillings by the Central Bank of Kenya. And you are actually, this channel is helping this country get the euro dollar so that they can function. So appreciate support, Jan Zola. That is very Pan-African. But yeah, go ahead.
And can I send my greeting to Jan Zola, my Gola Gichi brother, bloodline? I greet you.
Well, okay. And that's wonderful. I think that supporting any local economy or international economy is good, especially when Black people are involved. Here's what actually happens all over the world. In every society where they're oil producing, they actually contract out most of their oil product or their petroleum products around the world. As a matter of fact, in the United States, for instance, or in Europe, anyone who has lifting capabilities can purchase internationally from these particular locations, just like what's happening in Nigeria right now, even though Nigeria has probably a better position than everyone else in the entire world when it comes to crude oil, because all oil, all petroleum products on the planet are based on Bonny Light crude, sweet crude, which is, of course, only produced in Nigeria. And since from West Texas Intermediate through NMPC and all the other places where I've been in Nigeria many times, and to NMPC as well as Victoria Island, what I'm trying to say is, United States right now, if I owned a refinery in the U.S. or Great Britain or Germany, and I wanted to lift oil in my own country, I can't, because all of the contracted oil or all of the developed oil, petroleum products and oil products are already contracted out. So to infuse 13.5 billion US dollars or the value thereof into any oil marketplace would strangle the system worldwide. I know why they're doing it, but I think they're doing it bass backwards there in Nigeria, because Nigeria has a leg up on everyone. It could actually control the global market. I remember my good friend, who happens to used to be, I'm not sure if he still is, but Dr. Rwano Lukman was a friend of mine, and as well as Olusegun Obasanjo. And I remember having a conversation with them in Nigeria, in Kano State, back when Olusegun Obasanjo was actually in exile, and then he came out and became president. Because one of his best friends was a good friend of mine, Horace Clark, who was a Secretary of State in Jamaica. But I can go on and on about that relationship. But the conversations we had is Nigeria has been waiting on a time where a Dangote comes along. And maybe Dangote won't get the reserves or the actual allocations that he wants, but he's putting a stranglehold on the entire global marketplace. He's telling the world that all I need is money. And guess what? If any organization that's looking to make a profit, especially money lenders and hedge funds, teachers unions around the world, they have a prerequisite to make money, to have these large funds, Blue Diamond, Black Diamond. These guys will come to him in droves, and they'll shrew up that 13.5 billion on a whim. That's nothing for them to do. 100 billion, 50 billion, just nothing. But he wants to create the vacuum first. I think it's a very smart move for him to pressure the government to see him lose, to see him miss this opportunity, and to go through what they just went through on July 29th. He's setting a precedent for the continent, really, not just Nigeria, but for the entire Black population of oil producers or petroleum producers around the world. He's saying, we have the product. We have already contracted out most of our reserves, most of our allocations, most of everything. So how do we benefit locally from our own markets? Something the United States couldn't do. For a while, the U.S. was the largest oil producing country or entity on the planet, and still is, till it's very, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Nigeria, more than everyone. But they can't sell it to the U.S. They've already contracted it out to different governments. Hell, I think Nigeria buys it from the U.S. Great Britain
So
buys it.
let me see if I understand what you're saying. Are you saying then that Dangote is making a move in order to attract investors, in order to bring in euro dollars?
That plus something else.
What else?
Attraction of euro dollars. The something else is reconstruct the marketplace. Kill some of those.
Reconstruct the marketplace.
Yeah.
So let me try to interpret it, what the brother Michael is saying, and you can sort of gear me, or rather rear me towards the more accurate statement that you're making, right? But so to people listening, right, it's not just possible for you to, let's say, start selling whatever you want to any country you want. There are like agreed contracts that, again, agreed with IMF and all these other bodies around the world, to which country is going to sell what products and to what amount, etc. So right now, Nigeria, again, it's a crude selling nation. So he's trying to actually turn Nigeria into, again, a refinery, again, a value-added product selling nation. But these crude oil that the Nigerian National Company for Oil has already contracted out a lot of these oils to other countries. So he's trying to basically leverage the country by telling them, look, this is what's happening. People know what's happening. This is actually the single largest refinery that is all connected in one sort of system. So what that means is, if you don't do it, other people come and invest in this company, and this will actually be a loss for the Nigerian government. He's trying to force the Nigerian government to see how to invest correctly in the country's.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's
He's doing them a massive favor. He's doing Nigeria and West Africa.
He's pulling everybody into the game now.
Yeah.
The game
what will happen is, if this guy managed to get raw crude deal with other African countries even cheaper than Nigeria.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily to drive the prices down.
If he can, hang on a minute. Hang on, 1 second. If he managed to achieve that, he will actually put Nigeria in a deep financial trouble, because what if
no. There's no equanimity. See, there's no equanimity.
I call because I want to correct.
It's not about driving the price down.
Hold on.
Let the man finish speaking.
No. Let me come in, because I call in because of you. I heard some certain things you were not.
No, let the man finish.
On Nigeria. I'm in Nigeria. Allow Nigeria to give you.
Let the man finish.
I'm not trying to disrupt. Although that's exactly what they're doing. All Dangote is doing is he's disrupting the market. He's creating a void, an emptiness, a clear space. Yes. So whoever fills that void, they will not drive the prices up nor down. They'll just redistribute product. And the very same mechanisms that are in place today to lift those contracts and to get all of those renewal contracts and to have initiating new contracts, all that remains in place. All he's doing is shifting focus. He's saying, okay, instead of taking the $13 billion and trying to force feed it into the marketplace, we'll distribute that vacuum, that empty space over the marketplace and allow the marketplace to fill it, which he'll benefit from because he has the refinery. They will fill the void. He's inviting the world to say, I don't have enough oil.
Give it to me.
I don't have enough what I need.
Exactly
my
point.
Me. And so every country in the world would have to follow suit to 13.5 billion. Trust me, that's a lot of money. So that's going to put a dent in the marketplace if the people in the marketplace who actually buys and sells don't put up. That's what he's doing. He's just teasing people. I would do it too. I would play broke all day. Right. And I would get the market to come to me instead of me going to the market. And that's what he's doing. I think that is brilliant.
Okay. We're on a similar page. We're on a similar page. UFC, stop interrupting. I think it's rude. But you can carry it. Are you finished, sir?
Yes, I'm finished for now. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I think we're looking at it. I think it's a good thing that we're talking about this, because very few people on the entire planet even
understand
know what
this.
I just said.
I'm not far from your point, but I 100% agree with what you're saying, and I think we're kind of similar on the same page. But yeah, let UFC come on. Yeah, go on. Is that your plan, UFC? Yeah.
You are late on this particular issue. You don't have all the details. So let me educate you on this issue. You think what's going on in Nigeria is about the president, not the president. Don't forget, that sector, there are a lot of people with interest in that sector, including businessmen in the northern part of Nigeria. You understand me? So this whole thing, Dangote will be the single major player in that industry. So you're going to take food away from a lot of people in that sector. For example, last 2 weeks, Aminu Dantata purchased 10% of Total Energy. Yes, but you hear that information. So what you see play out for the past 2 weeks is just that people, Dangote need to make other people happy that were involved, because you have to eat and let other people eat. So there have to be people buying into his into the business, so that they cannot just go out of business. However, thank God yesterday they have reached a deal. You understand me? They finally reached a deal yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's a very small percentage, right? And
that's the second law of economics, brother.
No,
You
they'll
know,
be
where
see. They
Yeah,
reach
no,
a
no,
exactly.
no.
they
The
reach a
second,
deal to supply him 400,000 barrel of crude. Then he will get other the balance elsewhere. Is that not it? That's enough for daily supply.
yeah, but that's cyclical. You're talking about a cyclical purchase of product and service. What I'm saying is the second law of
Exactly.
economics is if you can't participate in the marketplace, you will not be in the marketplace. And if people are going to lose because a bigger player came in and they did not reform whatever they're doing in order to participate in that market or in that opportunity, then they have to go away, whether they lose money or not. That's not really what's important. What is
No,
important? What is important is if and when they do change the marketplace, that these people have backed themselves up and regrouped and reestablished themselves to participate in a new marketplace. All he's doing is saying the old way has never worked for anybody but a few. We need to
but
allow other people, we need to allow other people to get into the marketplace, but come in the marketplace in a way that'll be productive for everyone and not just a few. That's all
but
he's
he
doing is reconfiguring the marketplace, nothing
yeah,
else.
I agree. But he's dealing with
Exactly.
a lot of powerful people because people think the president is the most powerful person in the country. No, it's not. There
In
are
no country is that true.
powerful,
That's not true
yeah, there are
anywhere.
powerful people in the country that at least I guess they have reached a deal. So at least they all will not be happy now. So it's a fair deal that was reached. I don't think
Yeah, I think you're right, UFC. I think something they have had it talk, and basically they're like, you know what, something needs to be done about this because I don't think it's just in the hand of the president. Yeah, it seemed like something
Yeah, I think
was some
everyone in
negotiation
every
were
major country in the
You see,
world
that's
Right.
what I
has.
was saying, the cabal. That's what I'm trying to
because
say.
Can I ask a question, please?
because there's loads of people in this government, I believe that in fact have a lot of
Mm,
stake
right.
in that company.
no. See
So
you guys. Oh no. Let me tell you,
no,
none of the politicians have stake. For example,
okay,
Dantata family is heavily involved in the oil sector. They have like in Cameroon, they have like 100 something filling station in Cameroon. So they are highly involved in that sector. So you are not going to cut that family off. Those family are being business. Forget they are part of the Dangote family. This is
Right.
business here. And the number one head of that family is still alive. You see the way all the Northerners they treat him like God. Whenever he comes in, everyone lay down. That shows you that that's a powerful
Mm.
person you are dealing with. So
Right.
you think the president is not going to sort that guy out? He was just going to allow Dango to take over everything? No. But
yeah, but yeah,
hold on, let me
I
explain to you.
understand, I understand it.
The people that they were dealing with Dangote were his own people. Who were the people speaking bad of his refinery? Is it?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was his own people.
Yeah, you see, that's what I'm trying to
Can we take it up a level?
That's what I'm trying to but
Hey
everyone
guys,
is
hello,
saying that.
hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are dealing
One
with
second.
multiple interests.
Yeah.
And
One
thank you
second.
for your EFC. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for your insight.
Yeah, but do we know that when this refinery, when it's going to be fully operational?
And it won't be. Can you hear me? Or have we lost
Yeah, I
connection?
can hear you.
Yeah. So the issue right now, right? So the refinery is mostly at at operational level. The issue is that there's not enough crude, and they can't buy crude from the Nigerian government because they're like, bro, you have to pay us in euro dollars,
Right.
and basically he doesn't have that much euro dollars because he has to invest in his cement companies. If you
Right.
go to even yeah,
But hold on.
Dangote cement.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
Kazo, can we go
But
back to your euro dollar? Take the conversation up because we're moving into these characters and personalities. Whilst when you talk the conversation on euro dollars and getting euro dollars,
Yeah,
then it's a
these
lot
people are
higher level.
irrelevant. Yeah,
Pardon?
the specific politicians are irrelevant because this
Yeah,
is a bigger
irrelevant.
global.
It's small
Right.
talk.
But
How are you going to deal with the euro dollar question and also the known fact that the naira has been sinking for over 20 years
you can't
in
deal with it.
comparison?
You can't face it without not facing the corruption in these African countries. We forget about what is causing this. You see, when you're corrupt, when the country, when society is corrupt, what does it cause? It causes chaos. For chaos to go to what's called anarchy. What you see in the Kenya and in Nigeria, both of these countries are foolishly corrupt. You understand me? So,
Corruption is a
hold
matter of
on.
cultural perspective.
Yeah, but look, for European economy to work better, what you see they have now that eastern part of the Europeans, what Ukraine or somewhere like Bulgaria, those kind of countries, only those people are not so as corrupt as Africans because Africans are using this money sometimes to come and buy mansions in Europe. You understand me? We talk about how to fix this. Nigerian money been seeking for a long time. Not just the army could control it, but the civilians that came in, they're not
What
good at all.
was Nigeria corrupt? Was Nigeria corrupt when the naira was 1 naira to £1, or 1 naira to $1?
Yeah, because
Were they calling Nigeria corrupt back
they
then?
were not so corrupt. You know, like corruption is always in the
Ah,
game. But look, only
hold
that
it,
they
slow
were not
down there,
having
slow
an
down,
ambition.
hold it.
Look,
Let me hear
let
what
me
you
tell you
just
one
said.
thing.
Let me
They,
get clarification on what you just said. Did you just say that when the naira was equivalent value with the pound and the dollar, Nigeria was less corrupt? Is that what you just
ye-
said?
because they were not
Ah,
investing. See, they were not buying
think about
properties.
that. What you just said.
Carried. See, most
What
then
is going
Nigerian
on?
look Nigerian
No, but
government that time.
I see three. You
They
got
were
to
more
understand where
stable. They were more stabilized, but not
they
Yes,
were
see,
stable exactly.
less
So
corrupt. Not less
you know
corrupt.
what corrupt? You know who corrupt Nigeria? The British, the Americans. You understand me?
So
Ah,
let
right.
me
So
add something here.
what you just said.
Really?
I
Yeah,
That
let
doesn't
me
make
add,
sense.
I see three. Let
right.
me add something.
You,
Let
either
me add something here.
Nigeria is corrupt and the Africans are corrupt,
I think
or it's the Europeans corrupt.
I
Where
think
is this corruption you're
I think
talking about?
Africans we're just corrupt because we are
It's just
corrupt people.
it's
It's
plain
our
old
So
culture.
greed.
But
We,
I
Plain old
yeah,
see.
greed.
we're
That's
greedy
all.
people. Allah, that's the reason
Right.
why.
So
I
No,
will
yeah,
not blame
yeah.
the other
So,
people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so the issue is
yeah,
way back Africans, they were not banking their money in these Western countries. They were not going
yes.
there to buy Marshall. Awolowo have no house
I
in
I
England.
agree. I agree.
Azikiwe have no house in London.
Right.
Tafawa Balewa,
Yeah.
Agole one small apartment, 3 bedroom in somewhere there in Kano or one of these
See?
areas.
stuff.
You understand me?
This is
The most corrupt politicians
about.
that came later.
Ola is
Tell
making
me.
points. He's making some point. I agree with some of his point. I don't agree
You
with
know,
everything.
so
But let us
corruption came by these imported Nigerians that went to study in
yes.
London and in
They the
this
one that
project.
brought it.
Look at this woman. Look at this woman, Daisy. Look at this woman, Daisy. That woman was a petrol minister. That guy mentioned Lukom. Lukom is one of the best petrol minister in Nigeria. Look at that woman. Look at that woman, what she did. You cannot fix a country without no controlling corruption.
you,
You
you,
understand me?
you,
You have to stop the corruption
you,
first.
you see what
No,
I say.
that's you're making some point. Yeah.
You see what I say? It's a West custom employment. Your economy will fail if Africa stand up. The reason your economy is doing so well, but you are resources from Africa. That's the reason why your economy is standing. But on the resources from Africa. Now these are dumb and going to Europe. They're using us. They're using our people, the Europeans. Until we realize that.
Yes, we know
Let
that, but
me.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
move us into
Let me answer your question.
solution mode.
Let me
Think.
answer your question. Right? So one way, right, that the corruption actually gets worse, right? Ethiopia. The reason why Ethiopia doesn't allow you to send euro dollars outside the country is a very simple reason. Yes, it's to do with control of the economy, but it's so that money doesn't leave the country. During the TPLF, Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, when they were a government, they stole billions. I believe it was like over 50 billion euro dollars from the country. They just took a lot of money. So the current government basically said no one, unless it's a specialized merchant or a student or someone who's adding value by leaving the country, they can't send the money outside the country, right? So what that means is, right, the corruption is so bad because this what happens is, right, a politician will steal money in the local currency, let's say shilling or naira. Then they have some corrupt cronies within the central banks who will then transfer that money and exchange it for the dollars or European currencies like euro and pounds. And then, of course, they'll go and buy these houses and these real estate products through, these companies, right? That they create in the Caribbean or other sort of islands. That's how the money leaves. So Ethiopia had that solution. However, because of the IMF, they've been forced to open up their market. New banks, foreign banks are now allowed to operate in Ethiopia right now. That's how the money will start leaving the economy. I mean, it's kind of it's interesting, but
Yes.
there's corrupt politicians and also corrupt bank managers who
Right.
actually
Can we
Guys,
drop this corruption? If what I just heard the brother say, when the currency is of high value, then the corruption starts to diminish relative to the value of the currency. Yes. So therefore, corruption is not really an issue, is it? It's all about the
I
value
see,
and strength of the
I see
currency.
three, I see three, I see three. I think you're a bit wrong there. Because if for example you have a corrupt enough politician who are taking the foreign currencies out of the country, right, and not bringing it back, you have that going on a large scale, or you have corrupt politician who bury money, dollars and British pounds, to the help of the treasury. Then you're gonna have less foreign currency. That it's gonna be devaluing the currency. And also, if they are banking most of their wealth, that they stole from the Nigerian or from African coffers to Switzerland or stuff like that, that's just gonna reduce, the amount of money available for the people to spend on
Okay.
public services. So
So is it
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you actually are even asking this question because you're a
okay?
very known
Okay.
wise man on this platform.
Okay. So watch this. Let's break this down. Let's walk through
Mm,
this. Let's
mm.
walk through this. So the point that you're making, and quite a few have been making, is that there's corruption and the money is leaving the country. Okay. So here's the question: is it not true that the money is leaving the country because of the value of the currency?
Well, it should be an exchange.
IC3. Can you guys hear me? IC3, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay,
Yeah.
listen. IC3. Let me give you some advice as a continental African. And this is not a shot to anybody on the panel. Stop wasting your time talking to the descendants of enslavers. Many of these Africans that you deal with don't give a damn about anything. Their ancestors sold slaves. They still have the same slave trading mentality. They reduce everything to business. Everything is a commodity. Marx called it the commodity fetish. And these Africans have been corrupt since the time of the so-called slave trade, where they would sit down there, not only sell other groups, they would sell groups that came from people who spoke the same language as themselves. And the proof is the largest slave sellers of Yoruba people were other Yoruba people. The largest slave sellers of Igbo people were other Igbo people. So you have to understand who and what you're dealing with. There is so
It
so
was
IC3.
business. It was just
Let me
business.
so IC3, that's the problem. Everyone reduces it to business. And what it
It was
really
just
is
business.
that there's a fall in terms of the cultural standard. But that's
Right.
an anthropological discussion, that's a historical discussion, and Africans don't want that mirror put up with them. You've been on the panels with
Right.
me. When I
Interesting.
start challenging these
Interesting.
Africans, they come on the panel to Niger, all of them. They attack me violently. I hate catch them up, They start screaming like a bunch of women squirting. They're
No,
just
not you
terrible
again.
people, right?
Not this man
So
again.
so this is why you don't pay
We
attention
don't.
to them. The
We don't
truth of
have
the
to be
matter is this,
antagonistic.
IC3. No, I'm not being antagonistic to anybody on the panel. I said to
No, I'm
Niger.
not
I would
saying.
say
I'm
it to
just
his face.
saying.
Yeah, no,
What I'm
I'm not
trying to
being.
say is
No, but
that's
brother,
not
I know, brother.
what's
Yeah, I know, but brother,
necessary.
hold on, brother. It's necessary because when they attack me, I don't respond. But this is my time to at least put the mirror up and
Oh
let
no, I'm
my
not
brother
talking about that at
IC3 know.
all. I'm not
Okay, yeah.
referring to
So
that. What
okay.
I'm
So
saying
the
is
thing is,
civility,
wait, I wanna.
even in the
I know. I
corrupt,
wanna.
most corrupt places, will get more done. That's it. Even in the
Okay,
most
cool.
corrupt
Yeah, but
and terrible
I
places.
wanna address because IC3 is asking a great question, a very pertinent question, and I wanted to ask Kaizo to address it from a Kenyan perspective. In my opinion, the modern corruption that we see in West Africa and Africa in general, I can talk about West Africa in particular, especially Nigeria, is largely as a result of there is really a lack of separation between monies that you can accumulate from the market and monies in which you can accumulate from the state. And what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that if you're trying to get stupendously wealthy, that your great three generations of children will not have to worry about money in Africa, you must be connected to the state. That is a fact. If you don't have access to state capital contracts, interactions, or formations, you will not get that type of wealth. Whereas in the United States, it exists. Don't get me wrong. We all know, for example, Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, they all have government contracts, Oracle, cloud contracts with the, Pentagon, different ministries of defense. We know that that exists. But before they got large enough to the point where they can start giving government contracts out, like Ford, right, was producing trucks for the United States military, they were able to make enough money on the private commercial market system. In Africa, we don't have a strong private commercial market in which people can get stupendously wealthy. Even Dangote, if you look at the history of Dangote, his enterprise and his empire is extremely and inextricably tied to his interactions with the Nigerian state. That's a fact, right? So in order to stop corruption, in my opinion, in the modern day sense, Kaizo has been talking about MMT, and I really think it goes back to our concept of central banking. But more importantly than central banking, it really, and I've said this, Kaizo, you got to do the research. I hope you do a show on this. We don't study the Meiji Restoration. Pre-World War II Japan is the only country that went from a farming, what we would call, as Kaizo, when I first met Kaizo, dusty backwater, which I don't agree with, but that went from a so-called backwater, dusty, agricultural-based society to a self-sufficient industrial society. And we have to ask ourselves, how, why, and what did they do to get that? To the point that they defeated Russia, to the point that they were able to, like I said, industrialize in such a capacity that the West had to acknowledge their presence. And the blueprint that the Meiji Restoration gave is there. The problem is that what that's going to take is that it's going to take Africans on the continent some serious soul searching. That means you're not going to be able to consume. Let me wrap up because I want to hear you and Kaizo's positions on this. That means that the consumption of Western goods, this excessive demand for conspicuous consumption, which can be traced back to our initial interactions with the Portuguese, right? They brought mirrors, top hats, gins, and a bunch of other BS, and we just fell in love with it. We've been saying, hey, the white man since the 1400s. We're psychos.
Right.
And so if we, especially our elite, are not willing to say, you know what, F the West, F everything that they got, let's start being homegrown. If that fight doesn't happen, you can do whatever you want. Your currency is going to be weak because you're always going to have a demand for Western goods. And if you can't stop that demand for Western goods, you're always going to have a leakage in your currency's value. So Africans have to follow the way of Japan, look at how they can industrialize without getting an IMF loan, because again, Japan, and that's why I keep bringing them up, Japan didn't use an IMF loan. Japan wasn't like China. People say China, China, China. Y'all forget, China was selected by America. Nixon went to mainland China and brought American production over to China. That's what allowed China to get to the top of the level. Japan didn't have that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Kaizo.
I generally agree with you on this point here, and I want to add some real things that's happening on the ground and sort of try to coalesce some of these points. So you mentioned something about these people are descendants of slave traders, right? And whether they directly through ancestral lineage were participating in selling and trade of their own people or not, the spirit is the same. So when you come to Africa, look at the politicians. Come to Isiolo County, for example. That's one of these counties further north from where I am. A politician was selling apparently buying a crate of soda, right? That's like 12 sodas or something for $10,000. And that's how these people actually audit their books. This is not new. This is not interesting. This is how these books are audited. And of course, that money is pocketed, right? They claim that they had 900 people, yet there was really only about 10 people that showed up. So my point is this, right? These people, you're right, in power right now, most of them are actually people that are cannibals. I will call these people, right, cannibals, right? African cannibals.
Cannibals, oh my God.
Yes, these are cannibals. They eat their own people. So what that means is, basically, I don't agree with the Kenyan Gen Z movement, right? I have my own reasons why I don't agree with it. However, you do need a revolution. That's the only way you're going to move forward, because some of these people, these are generational elites that were left over by these obviously Europeans to set up this standard that we have, that they act as a buffer class to prevent us from moving forward. That's 100% fact. All of them.
Right.
All of them. There's no exception, right? All these people are.
You see,
Thank you very much. Well said.
Yeah, but this
Well
has no
said.
value. This has no value. What truly has
Correct.
the value is the culture. Culture dictates people. People do not
Correct.
dictate culture.
That's what we need the
And this is the
revolution.
no. This is the problem. The problem
Go
is
ahead.
we're thinking
I
linear
agree.
instead of dimensionally. We need to think dimensionally about these things and not linear.
you see
Because
the problem.
they're-
We have
the,
What does
the
that mean?
Stop
expectancy.
interrupting.
Hold on, let the brother finish his wisdom. Go ahead, brother.
What we're saying is, if we want people to do as we wish and stop the corruption or codify the corruption, which they should do, I think the way you do business is normally cultural more than it is business-like, more than it is politically. So when the culture dictates something, we have to move and flow as a unit of people in that direction, like Muammar Gaddafi did. He wanted to unite Africa, and under the currency and under education and under a lot of things, and then he was killed. Why? Because the culture was changing in that direction, and people and the powers in the world did not want the culture to change. They wanted the people to stay disjointed and fragmented like they are now, and not cohesive in any particular direction for anything other than themselves. So the more I divide and conquer you, the easier you'll be for me to hurt and to take advantage of. People will only ever do to you. People will only ever do to you what you allow them to do. And back in the
Do to
days
you.
of slave
Exactly
trade,
my point.
and, yeah, but I haven't finished. I haven't finished. I just
You
want to
finish, brother.
add
Finish.
one more thing. I just want. I'm real patient guy. I'm okay, but I'm just saying. Back in the days of slave trades, when it was slavery all over the world. The Middle East, the Americas, the Africans, the Europeans. Everybody was trading slaves back then. So it wasn't just.
And the
African
English
slave trade.
even the white people were involved
They
with
had
enslaving one
indentured
another.
service. You're right. They had
The
indentured
Irish.
service.
What's the solution then? What is
Right.
this culture you're talking about?
The
What
solution
is this
is
culture?
going through. The solution is, instead of being disjointed and fragmented and going in 50 different directions, business people need to start doing just one thing: focusing on the market in front of them, and then becoming good at what comes next. This is what we fail at in every society on the planet for the last millennia. We're never good at what comes next. And what comes next after there's corruption. You call it corruption, but I call it the right way to do business. We just had that conversation about NNPC and about Dangote. I
What do you
think it's
mean
the
by
right
this
way.
we? When you say we, are you talking about everybody, us as humans, or are you talking about black people?
I'm talking about especially black people, but humans too. White people don't really control anything. They really don't. They got you convinced that they do. Let's just talk about the Congo for 1 minute.
All right, brother, so
No,
you
no,
gotta
no,
respond, brother. You can't just keep going on. You gotta let
You gotta live. But if you
hold
don't
on,
know,
bro.
if
Hold
you
on, bro.
don't
You
know,
gotta
now
let
you
people
know.
respond,
If
and
Yeah,
then
you
you
come
can.
on,
don't
man. Let the
know,
brother
now you
finish.
know.
Hold on, man. Let the guy finish, please. Go ahead,
Let
brother.
him
I'm
finish
gonna
his
Because
say, and
point.
time
Let
I'll
him
up.
be
land.
quiet. Okay,
Let him land.
You gotta wrap it up, man.
okay, whatever. Anyway, here's the thing. Let's look at the Congo just for 30 seconds. The Congo by itself right now could supply all of the oil, all of the diamonds, all of the agriculture, all of everything the entire world needs daily for the next 400 or 500 years based on just one country. But
So
yet,
what?
just listen carefully. But the marketplaces and mainstream world has you believing that they have to use the Congo to do it. And the Congo don't know that they can do it on themselves because they have guys like us sitting in these rooms debating it instead of pushing and supporting the Congo to do it. And that's all I'm trying to say. Where we lose every single time is you got one way to do it. I'm not against you. What you're saying is true. I'm not against you, but I just see there's another way. And I think we need to start operating collectively like mainstream world operates collectively. That's what I
Can't
think
work,
is
by the
our
way, you're
problem.
saying. It's white supremacy. You have to deal with white supremacy. So I understand your
Of course you
position.
do.
And the
Of course you do.
market, and the market. We
The
shouldn't forget
market
that.
belongs to the white supremacists. The
Yeah,
market is a closed system. The
yeah, yeah.
market is a financial, political, and cultural ecosystem. That is what the market is. And it's
I agree.
controlled by a group of people. And you have to think of how to deal with that or create a new market. What is the solution to deal with a market that has been constructed? A market is a house. There's those allowed inside to operate, to eat, and there's those not allowed in.
Why did they kill Malcolm X? Why did they kill most of the leaders in Africa when they didn't go along, or Gaddafi? Why did they kill Martin Luther King? Why? Ask yourself that one question.
They're not welcome. Simple.
No,
Wrong
that
skin
wasn't
color.
it. It wasn't it. They created the culture. They created the stories. They created the history. The mainstream world did that. Mainstream white people did that. They killed them because they were right. They killed them because they could use one word and it worked every single time. It's called boycott. What black people don't do is boycott any damn thing. We are so busy trying to fill our pockets and our mouths and be for our own instead of for each other. That's the problem. And they know that's the problem. That's why they keep
And the
exploiting
solution
that
is,
problem. The solution is, I
what?
just said the word, the same intellect that you're espousing on this group. No, the same intellect you're using. I think you're a very smart guy. I think you're cunningly smart. But I also believe that that same focus on what I just said, teaching people how not to say yes to every damn thing, is where we need to start. When we say no as a culture, we start saying no as a culture, then that culture will start dictating no to the world, and it'll give us leverage. We've never had leverage as a collective black unit. Africans say, I don't like Americans. Or Americans say, I don't have anything to do with Africans. Europeans go, who they? Who the hell they think they are? We are Europeans. And these are all black people.
Let me respond to that. Let me respond to that, bro. My thing is this. Now, the brilliant brother, he mentioned the Nijai restoration, and that happens to be something that I really researched a lot, myself. And I think that the key to the Nijai restoration in Japan, where Japan industrialized in a space of like less than 50 years, is basically they identified finished materials that they would have to produce in order to get into like the export market. So they're talking about steel, lumber, petroleum. They didn't have oil, so they had to go out and buy oil. They had to go out and trade for oil, stuff like that. And they just identify those industries they go into. They started with the lumber, and then they went to the steel. Okay, and then they went to once they got the steel, then they went into the manufacturing. They manufactured their own trains, but they built their own railroad system, but they also manufactured their own trains. And then they went into the petroleum, going out and securing the petroleum, and then developing the refinery capacity for it. And my whole thing is the thing that really stuck out was the development of heavy industry. You also see this with Singapore, which is another small Asian country as well. But they developed similarly along the lines of Japan, where they basically they developed lumber production, steel production, and they even started making once they started making all that steel and stuff in Singapore, they started making fucking cargo ships. They started making those big container ships stuff. Singapore, they make those, and they started making that once they realized, hey, we can make all this steel and stuff and ship it around the world. Hey, we can also build container ships and stuff and sell them to people all over the world. So that's the model I think that I would like to see African nations have. But with Kenya, it's like they want to skip heavy industry and they want to go straight to like service sector, and that's not the way to go. You got to get your lumber production, your steel production, your petroleum and stuff, all that in order first. Because if you don't get that in order first, when you want to build, houses, or you want to build a skyscraper or whatever, you're gonna have to buy all that steel from China or from India or from Europe or from America. You know what I mean? And they gonna charge you a high price, for their steel versus you being able to make it yourself. So there needs to be a linear process and I don't see it with Kenya. Kenya's jumping, Ruto, he's jumping straight into the call centers and stuff. I mean, he wants to do call centers, with Biden, when he should be trying to develop a steel industry in Kenya. He should be trying to get Kenyans to produce their own steel. That should be the first thing.
But what stops that from happening? What do you think stops that from? Here's what.
No, what stops it from happening? I'll tell you what stops
society.
What stops it from happening is a lack of vision. Okay, they have the skill and the know-how. Africans, they send the young people all over the world just to study engineering and to study, industrial sciences and stuff.
That's not vision.
They can use their own people to develop this stuff, even if it takes time and even if it takes time.
That is not what stops it.
What happened
is there's lack of infrastructure.
What you have to have first
to let their young people. Bro, are you gonna let me finish? Or you gonna talk over me?
You've been talking over me this whole time, so
it's consent to let their young people go to the West and live in the West for years and send remittances and stuff. They don't want to bring the young people back to help build up their own country. They'll just stay buying materials and stuff from the West. They'll never grow like that. But go ahead, bro.
No, listen. What stops it is that there's no infrastructure for that in Kenya. There's no infrastructure for any type of restoration or reformation. So first, the infrastructure has to be built. The reason the Japanese could do it is because they had already retooled themselves for about 1,000 years in a discipline of such preciseness that when it came to the different metallurgies and the different types of ores and the different types of wood products and services that they were providing and materials and raw materials around the world, they had been preparing for that for thousands of years, brother. That has nothing to do with it being Japanese. It has to do with being ready to accommodate.
No, sir. Hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. Wait, Al, hold on. Wait, hold on. Al, wait. Hold on, sir. I'm not cutting you off. Okay, wait, but sir, hold on quickly. I'll let you keep going. I just want you to know, though, maybe you could take a little bit more time, and I'm not an expert, and read on the Magi. That's why it was a restoration. What happened was that there was an internal clash between the old samurai guard and the new guard that said, look, we have to restructure things, because if we keep doing things the old way, we're going to end up, being on the platter of the West. So, and there was a lot of internal fight between that. Japanese society had to be restructured. The peasant class had to be, in many ways, quote unquote, liberated in order to expand and tap into them as a quote unquote human resource for the capital markets. So I don't know if it was thousands of years of preparation, but I do think what happened is that the visionaries who started the Meiji Restoration understood that, look, if we allowed the samurai class in their way, because, for example, in old Japan, a samurai could just go up to a peasant and chop them in half, and nothing would happen to the samurai. So they had to open up land rights. They had to open up property rights. They have to open up human rights. These same type of abuses happen in Africa. A politician, right? I mean, look at right now. A politician could come to right now and tell you, look, listen, I don't like this person. He's my political enemy, blah, blah, blah. And they'll get rid of you. Even the way that the elite class of Africa talk, I mean, some of them come on these panels, their fathers, uncles, mothers, brothers, they're all in positions of power. They don't give a damn about the poor African. I was just on another panel yesterday full of Nigerians telling me that it's okay for people to walk the streets without any money for gas. That's what poor people always do. And it's okay. There's no need for them to protest. So this is the
Gassing up, you know.
psychotic mentality.
Oh,
Say again?
you lie, gassing up, you lie.
No, I didn't lie. I didn't. Hold on, Kidola,
You
Kuda.
know,
You know that
I'm
Kidola.
in agreement with you,
Wait,
but
hold
I
on,
also disagree.
wait. Kidola. You know day yesterday when I did on one man channel, okay? They were all making excuses for that stupid government in Nigeria. So don't tell me I'm lying. When I insult Nigerians, let me insult them because they are useless people. And I'm insulting not every
Oh,
Nigerian. I'm
brother,
insulting
come on.
the
Let's stop with
elite
that.
of
What are you
Nigerians. I'm
talking about?
insulting the elite and elite ass kissers of Nigerians. So Kida, don't defend them. If you are with the
Well,
people, stand with
you
the
have
people.
I start
elite
with the
in every
people. I start with
country.
the people.
You have elite all over the world, and they're not all bad. What's bad is how we interpret and how we move forward with them, or backwards in some cases. All I'm trying to tell you guys, and you're smart people talking about these issues and dissecting them from every single direction. I think that's wonderful. But we're saying 15 different things. The one collective thing we should be saying is what comes next? And then when it comes, what do we do about it? I think that's the
Sir,
most
I
important
said that.
question.
I said that
But
the African.
doing it the
You said it.
Japanese way is not going to work in Africa because Africa doesn't have the same
No,
culture
no,
as
it's. I didn't say the measure. I said, hold on, gentlemen. Let's be clear. I didn't say. You see, and that's the problem with us as Africans. I'm not telling us to
No, I
copy the
heard what you said.
Magi
You said
situation
Africa should adopt
wholesale.
it.
I said that they can take what works for them and make it happen. The problem is you said the key word. You said boycott. And that's why I said the African demand, the African appetite for not only Western goods, the Western gaze, the Western look of approval has to be cut out like a cancer. I've told this to many Africans. If you have a strong Nigeria, that is a threat to MI6. That is a threat to Homeland Security. Because what that means is that the oil and the minerals coming out of Africa will no longer be cheap. So that means an iPad in the United States won't be $1,000. It'll probably be $4,000. American consumers don't want to do that. So that's the fight on your hands. And if the Africans aren't prepared to have that fight, that, oh, Africa can develop. Listen, if you're going to have a developed Africa, understand that you're going to be undermining Western consumption. Do you think the American voter gives a damn about African rights when the prices of their precious consumer goods are skyrocketing? Hell no, they're not going to go for that. So you're now a threat. You're a threat to MI6. You're a threat. And so that means you're going to be a pariah. They're going to give you sanctions. They're going to treat you like Cuba. They're going to treat you like North Korea. But Africans aren't prepared to get it in the mud. The African elite, the African leadership would rather booty clap for the white man. I'm not saying this as an insult. I'm saying this for what it is. You said the key word. We got to boycott. But the Africans, the elite, and to a degree the people don't have the stomach to boycott. They're not prepared to do that fight. And that's why I said the Magi restoration is the key.
What we're talking about is that Africa does not have the mentality. Look, you see, all black people sometimes, I think we have we take short. We don't have the mentality to develop anything. We only think about now and what am I going to build for my family, immediate family, not about the nation. They want to buy mansions in overseas. It's simple. They want to buy a house near the Queen. They want to buy a house in Malibu. They want to buy a house in Singapore. I'm talking about that. They said all the Africans that they think about for me now, so they can be hailing themselves. You see, the problem Nigerians today is look. I don't know how old anybody is here. This problem Nigeria is facing now, Kenya, Nigerians experienced in 1982. That what brought Ubari to power. That was even civilian government. They saved this kind of fake democracy guys that came at that time. They messed up the whole shit. They were going to London to buy a house. Umaru Diko bought a house in London. He stole almost about 600,000 naira at that time, equivalent to almost about 500,000 pounds. You know what I mean? So you have to understand the stealing of these civilian people. That's why I never yearn for any civilian government because they all. If I grew up during the military time, I prefer the military time. We just know who we're dealing with. But with this all fingers, all hands, my brother, look,
But
this government doesn't know how to fix. This government you see today, they don't know how to fix a country. They lie that they built Lagos. These are just tax collectors who just collect tax. They tax Lagos to death. You know what I mean? They have never done nothing apart from looting the money, banking it in France. That's why this Tinubu was it's like a water boy to French government and the British and the Americans. It's a water boy. Water boy do nothing about to bring water. You understand me? So we can speak it as we want it to be. These people don't know how to manage the economy. They came to loot and loot and loot, and it's their own tongue. Look, everybody will be fighting. Everybody will be fighting very soon in the street. Very soon, I will take my wife and my children. I'll go to my village. I'll go and arm myself there and stay there. Be waiting for the
deal. Let's be honest. You see, black people across the world are the same. We are the same. We don't plan. We don't do anything. It's just this complain and complain and complain. For example, let me come back to the election. Removing of subsidy and unifying the currency was a major political discussion, and the three political parties agree on that. The three candidates agree. So, if any of them have won that election, the same thing would have happened. You understand me? Let me tell you why I blame us. As a sensible citizen, everyone knew that this thing will happen because it was a political discussion. Everyone agreed.
But wait, before you, can you tell me why?
Hold on, let me land. Calm down.
I know I'm calm. I want you to explain to me why. You said it's a discussion. Tell me why they had to remove it. I don't know.
Hold on. Then we suppose we structure the way we spend money. We have save and prepare ourselves for the outcome. But no one prepared. Like it seemed like a shock for everyone. Wait,
but tell me why. I hear you, but tell me why.
The candidate campaign on that issue that they are going to remove, and then people vote and one decide to win. What do you expect? That means we.
But you're not. Can you answer me, please? Tell me why they had to remove it now. I'm asking for my own education. Why?
Without removing it, there was no longer money for the federal government to spend on anything because the debt was finished Nigeria resources. Like they pay debt, they pay subsidy, nothing else to build infrastructure or nothing. So they have to money has to come from somewhere. So let's be honest. Yes, things are bad. We know there's no other shortcut to this problem. Me and you, we know that.
Did you hear me?
I don't see. No, hold on. You still have to explain. You said something, but I need you to give me the facts. You said allegedly. This is what they are saying. They are saying that because of that subsidy, that the government didn't have any money to do any expenditure after they paid the subsidy. That the government didn't have anything left. Is that what you are saying?
Okay, let me tell you something. Okay, let's agree. Okay, do you know that in West Africa, for example, even till now, Nigeria still sells the cheapest gas to its citizens. Gas in Ghana is almost $1 something. In Ghana, like in Nigeria, it's now to 50 cents. So wow. So what is the complaint?
Yes, again, you didn't answer my question. You see, I'm not asking you for a comparison of different economic price points. I want you to answer me. You just said clearly, you said that allegedly that if they keep spending on the subsidy, Nigeria will no longer have any money again to spend on infrastructure. Is that what you're saying?
Hold on, the subsidy and the money for recurrent debt to finance debt already that was on grant was already taking 100% of the government resource.
Okay, so now here's the question. Here's the problem. You see the problem. We don't look. You said it's political campaign, and that is why I said the leaders of Nigeria are useless. First and foremost, this debt that was taken is not the Nigerian people's fault. That the previous administrations, who are often friends with these same current administrations, it's not the fault of the Nigerian person on the street that when they borrowed these monies from IMF and World Bank and other institutions and use their Euro bonds, that they mismanaged the money, and instead of them to properly provide electricity, instead of them to properly build roads, they didn't do what they are supposed to do with the money. They messed it up. So now the only welfare program that Nigerian people can say they are enjoying from their government, which was that fuel subsidy, so it's like you shoot me with a gun. your previous administration, which is your friends, you used a gun to shoot me. Now you're not telling me I'm going to remove the hospital that is the only hospital that was treating and taking care of you. It doesn't add up, my brother.
It's because our
It doesn't add
That's them
up.
up. That's
our
them up.
politicians don't
That's
care
them up.
about.
I
Listen
live
about
I live here in
I
Nigeria.
spend Nigeria's people
All
to
this
wait.
grammar, I'm tired of it. Let's relax.
You Nigeria's tired
Let
of
me
it.
hold on. You live in the US, anyone that is living in the US here.
I live in Nigeria as well. I live in Nigeria. You cannot tell me I don't live in Nigeria.
Hold on, sir. Is anybody going to do? I don't know. How much does a brain surgery cost here in the US, for example? Can anybody give me an answer?
I don't know. I'm not a brain surgeon. I said I live in Nigeria, so you cannot just
No,
push me and say.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking other people on the platform. How much does a brain surgery cost in the US? Brain
The
surgery.
arm and the leg.
Yeah.
Said arm and the leg. That shit high.
Thank you. Did you know when I did my dad's, I paid for my dad's brain surgery. It cost only 400,000 naira in my state here in Nigeria, and he stayed 2 weeks in the hospital.
How much is 400,000 naira?
It's not up to about $8,000.
$8,000.
It's not up to $1,000. Yes, it's not.
But what you're doing, you see, you can't make that comparison because you have to look at the quality of care.
See, the quality service they gave my dad was okay. My dad is still alive.
I'm not talking. You see, no, hold on, sir, hold on. Listen, this is why. Hold on, wait. Now, wait. No, me and him are having a good conversation. Hold on.
No.
I'm having. Wait. Now you said something. Let me respond. We'll go back and forth. I know we don't have to fight. Wait. Oh my God. Relax, brother. Look, hold on. Let's go back and forth now. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. We don't have to fight. You said something. Let me respond, and then you can go back and forth. Now, wait. Oh my God, brother, that's how a conversation works. Now, listen. You said something. Let me respond, and we can go back and forth. Look, my guy, cool down now. Let's go back and forth. This is good.
Your state have received the largest.
Wait, I'm not asking. Oh my God, man, I'm not asking. Hold on, wait. Let's address what you said. Let's go. We're men. We're not women. Let's address everything one at a time. You just said brain surgery. No problem. Great. Now, if I were to go online and we compare, right? If we compare the type of medical facilities in terms of a global standard, there are governing bodies that judge the medical standard around the world, right? They have different medical bodies. I can guarantee you that even if the price of a brain surgery in Nigeria is less than $1,000, the type and quality of brain surgery you will get in Nigeria is not up to the same that you will get in a so-called developed nation. So now that is something that we have to address. We can't make comparisons like that. But go ahead to your next point. You want to talk about fuel that is money received. Go ahead.
That is what you assume. Actually, they actually gave him a very good care.
I didn't ask about your personal father's issue. I said the governing bodies such as UNESCO, different governing bodies that measure medical standards around the world will tell you clear as day that Nigeria's medical standard is not up to that of other developing and developed countries. So let's go to your next point. Your next point, which is that Delta State has received oil money, right? That's your next point.
Hold on. So we should measure everything by the white man standard, right?
I don't understand. You are the one that's telling me.
You complain about the white man all day, but we should measure what is good and what is bad by their standard.
So I said the United Nations. Is the United Nations a white man standard? Is that what you're saying? So are you saying UNESCO and other the World Health Organization, they're white man standards? Is that what you're saying?
The treatment my dad received was one of the best.
I'm not asking about your father. I don't care about your anecdotal personal opinion. I'm not asking about.
Hold on. You are looking for their validation. I don't think.
I didn't ask you. You see, you are confusing yourself. Is the United Nations and the World Health Organization, are they white men standards? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm trying to say is that they don't need to rate our hospital before you believe that our hospital actually good work.
So hold on. So wait. So gentlemen, hold on. Wait, guys, listen to this. Guys, listen to this. Okay, I agree with you. No problem. So if this is what he's telling us that his father received great care, Nigeria's medical industry is great, then why is he not going to admit to the fact that no Nigerian politician is going to get that same surgery in Nigeria? As a matter of fact, a senator of Nigeria, the Igbo guy, just left Nigeria and died in the UK trying to escape the Nigerian medical industry.
No, you see, that was what happened was sudden.
So you hear the nonsense he's telling you. He tells you that Nigeria's medical. Okay, go ahead.
He died of heart attack. It was a sudden death. It was not that he was sick. No, he was there on vacation. The senator on reset.
No. I didn't. No, you're not answering. I'm saying again, gentlemen and ladies who are listening. This guy just told you that Nigeria's health industry, because forget the white man standard, is great, it's good, come on down. But the Nigerian politicians themselves will never get surgery in Nigeria. So what is he telling you? Why is he telling you to do something that the Nigerian politicians themselves don't do? They all go to Germany, England, and the United States to get their medical surgery.
Anywhere. If you have the money, you can go to the US and receive.
Why don't they use Nigeria? You just said the Nigerian standard is so good, so why don't they use the Nigerian standard?
I'm speaking of my state. I'm not telling you Nigeria. I was speaking of Benin, Edo State. The treatment, because my dad is here in Edo State here, so the treatment he received here was good.
No, we're talking of Nigeria. We're not personalizing to anecdotal experiences.
So, I don't know about other states if it is bad in your state. I have no idea. But in a
you can see, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen of the panel, you can see what this guy's doing. He just told you that in his particular state in Nigeria, the medical industry is thriving and it's great. So how come no Nigerian politician, even the former President Buhari, was in England begging them to save his life on numerous occasions? He didn't go to this guy's state in Nigeria for his health checkup. And then he says, well, that's okay because if they have the money. How many times have we seen the United States president or the president or the prime minister of England or any notable dignitary of the West come to Africa for medical treatment? How many Kenyan hospitals?
What brought this conversation here?
Can you guys hear me?
You were saying that all subsidy was removed for everything. The reason why I brought this thing is that there's still subsidy in other areas that you don't know of. So you don't think it's the only.
I said the subsidy of Nigeria. Yes, and I told you that you cannot come and remove a subsidy if you have not put the proper things in place.
What?
Absolutely.
Can I say something?
You can't. It's a silly notion. This is an elitist notion. Listen, brother. Look, I don't care. Listen. Look, brother. If Nigerian complain. You know what? People like you don't walk the streets of Nigeria.
What? Okay. What is your impact in Nigeria, for example?
None of your damn business. Do I ask you if you touch your girlfriend's clit when you hit it from the back? Do you rub your girrub's clit when you hit it from the back? It's none of my business, right? No, I'm asking you. Do you rub your girlfriend's clit when you hit it from the back?
The largest allocation in
if you don't rub your girl's clit, send her over to me. I can help you out with that. You got to rub the clit when you hit it from the back so she can come. It's none of my business, right? So stop asking me questions about what I do in my personal life. Does your dentist scratch his ass before he puts it in your mouth? That's what you should be worried about. Stop worrying about my personal experience. Listen again.
You have never contributed to the country. It is the white man. It is the white man. No, it is not the white man. It is
no.
us.
Because people like you, don't know what you're talking about.
All the money your state has
you don't.
Nothing can be right home about in your
state. You come from a state where all the women are prostitutes in Italy. Don't talk about states in Nigeria. All the girls in Edo are in Italy sleeping with white men. Why are the women of your state running to Italy to be prostitutes? I agree. I'm a slave. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. at least we rule we rule you and your people way back. If not for
Okay, great. That's good. The
what they
British.
call it, Miriam
The British,
Babangida,
right?
that come in
Yeah.
and decide to split
Okay.
those states into
Wait,
two.
Okay.
You are
Yeah.
being, you are our sons and daughters, so don't come
Daughters,
here
I
and
get
say,
that.
"Oh,
But
yeah."
I get what I hear that. That's great. But you're not addressing the point. Why is it that Edo women are in Italy fucking white
Exactly.
boys
Speaking
for
Because
right
pennies
that
now.
on
is
the
their
dollar?
body. They have the
Yes.
right to do whatever
Allow
they
them.
want with
hold on.
it. You understand
And
me?
So
being
your government is
pissed
working
off at
What?
the
while
women.
your women are
They
sleeping
have the
around
right to do
prostituting for
whatever
white
they
boys.
want with it.
Your government is working and
At least we
your
are not
women are
receiving.
sleeping
At
with
least we
white
are not
boys.
receiving the money you guys receive.
Hold on.
We are not
Your
receiving that
government,
What?
allocation. You guys
dude,
receive the
dude,
biggest
Hold.
allocation in the
for
country,
everybody who's
but you
listening,
are
his
still,
state,
you cannot
if you
point
want a good
nothing in
time,
your state. We are not
if you
receiving the
want a
money
good
you
time,
receive.
if you want to receive a good time, go get a girl from Edo State. She'll make you feel good. Go to
Uh,
Italy. There's a bunch of
uh,
women from his state there.
you think
They're
you
cheap.
think
That's not.
You
That's
can get them
every
for
country
pennies
in the
on the
world.
euro.
Every country in
you
the
think
world
that's
has the
going to
same
hurt
exact
your
thing.
feelings?
You can get them for pennies on the euro.
Every country in the
I
world
believe they
got
didn't
the
give you
same
food.
red light
That's why
district.
you are
So
complaining
just
here.
let it go.
Idiot.
Gassed it up, right? And
Yo,
this is
yo,
my
yo,
thing.
you
Use
change
that
the
What
topic.
I see
conversation though,
you
bro.
do,
What,
what I
what happened to
see
the
you
topic,
Always
bro?
do
How y'all get
complain,
off
always
topic?
complain.
you
It doesn't contribute nothing
I'm
to the
out.
country. I don't believe you even have any business there. Always complain is the white man, is the white. What have you
You don't know
see,
me and you
right
don't
now?
need to
What
know
have
me.
you
I don't
done?
need to tell you anything about me. Like I said,
Yeah,
when you hit your girl from the back, make sure you rub her clit because it's none of my
what
business. But
the
I hope
fuck
you
up?
do. If not, send it to me. I'll make her feel good.
That's why.
I'm
If
That's why
not,
the
send
young.
her to me. I'll make her
That's
feel
why the
good.
young. That's why the
side
young people
with
always
Nigeria
turn you guys
first
to
because
turn you guys to their.
hold on, Nigeria first. I'm gonna side with you because whenever I've seen Gaston up, it's like um, as long as I've
White
seen you
man.
like comment on Africa, you usually seem to be attacking other Africans most of the time. You seem to
Yes, I do. I do attack them.
enjoy
I
attacking
do.
other
No, Mike. Mike
Yes.
Adewale, allow him
I
to
understand,
release
but what
that
I
thing
don't
in
see
his
you
start.
do
You think he's
is
going to roast those
I
girls
don't
that I
see
will
you
be
coming up
angry?
with
Go
ways
ahead and say whatever you want
to
about
work
Benin.
with other
Republic.
Africans, try to solve problems. You just
No,
seem
no.
to
Here's the
attack.
problem. Here's what you got to understand, sir. I have to attack because I have to call out my own. Just like, for example,
I am
I
not your
cannot
God
come on the
forbid.
platform. I
Go
cannot come on the
baptize you and
platform
your
and
family.
address FBA.
I'm not
I'm
your
not.
own.
I'm not in a position to address FBA, right? I cannot address them. Even if I disagree or agree with certain things, I will allow other FBA to address
But
FBA.
you
I
speak
have
so
to stay in
low
my
to
lane. So when I see these slave
at least
trading
you have
Africans
attacked
and
me,
their
not to zero.
mentality, I have to call them out and I have to address them. They
That's
are
the one.
not good
That's the one.
people. They're evil people, and they're the reasons why you ended up in America and the Caribbean in the first place. People like him.
It's people like you.
All right. So
That's
it
Don't
wasn't
complain.
hold on. It wasn't the European slave traders' fault as well.
It
Oh
was
no, it was
everybody's
both of
fault.
them, but it was people like him. It's people like him that compromise, and instead of them to keep quiet when people are having serious conversations to address the
So
failings
Mike,
of the
by going
Nigerian
to Nigeria
government, all he knows
and
how to
marry
do
multiple wives.
is
By
all
going
he
to
knows how
Nigeria
to
and marry
do.
multiple wives there. That's what
Right.
you guys
Anyway,
are
you
known
guys.
for.
I think anyway,
But you only got smoke for Nigeria. You only got smoke for other Nigerians though. For Nigeria
As
first.
I'm supposed to. I don't need to talk about anybody else. I need to address Nigerians.
You don't have smoke for the European at all. In
No,
fact, you
I
think
definitely, no, that's a contradiction. He just accused me. Hold on, wait, hold on. You can't say that. He just accused me of saying everything is the white man. So I definitely have smoke for the European. He just said it with his own mouth.
say that. I've sat here in this room and I've heard you. I've heard you repeatedly talk like that.
But the only
No,
reply.
So which one is it? Am I against the European? Am I against the
disagree.
European or am I against the Nigerian?
Yes. Go on.
Let me say something. See, the issue I have, we have been blaming the West for thousands of years now that they are our cause of our problem. But when you look in the middle, they are not the cause. We are the cause.
Yeah, more 99%.
We're not the one telling our leaders to steal and loot our money. It is not them. They are not the one telling them not to invest in education, healthcare, and every other
But
sector.
Al, listen, Al, I want you to be objective because I know you don't always agree with gas and you like to take sides on the subliminal, right? You try to do that.
Shut
Al,
up, shut
listen,
up.
Al, listen. Here's the problem. If
You
he's
are
telling you
actually
we can't, Al, listen, Al, hold
you're
on. If
deluded,
he's saying,
Castle.
Al, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't speak. Go on.
Yes, listen, if he's telling me that the problem is ourselves, we just saw a situation where again the government has failed the people since the 1960s in terms of providing the services that they need. And the only thing that the people generally benefit from is to make life a little easier was that fuel subsidy. Now, I'm not saying that it was the best thing in the world financially for Nigeria. What I am saying is that the government could have done a deeper dive to say, how can we make this fuel subsidy something where the persons or the people who need it most can benefit from it. That wasn't done. What was done was just remove the whole thing, put the country into chaos, and now the people want to protest. And now they're saying, don't protest. It's short-sightedness and it's silliness. So
But the
yes, he's right.
people,
The
hold on.
biggest problem
But
of
the people
Nigerians are
voted for that
Nigerians.
policy. The people
You see,
voted for that policy.
hold on. Yes, hold on. Sorry,
The people voted for that policy.
hold on. Let me just address it. What I agree with the point. Listen, first of all, you're completely idiot for calling me subliminal. But the reality is, the fact is, I was here earlier on. I'm one of the guys that speak to the truth, right? If the government, I see your government doing the wrong things, I'll criticize it. If I see them doing the right thing, I'll criticize it. I've been consistent throughout about foreign administration. But one thing I'm going to say to you, which is true, that from the beginning to now, this guy is not the only person that has failed Nigeria. You know that. He's not the only person. You go back to Buhari, go back to Jonathan, go back to, all the way to Basanjo and so on. They all fucked up the country. And the same thing goes on to the African continent. But the reality is, it's about finding a solution. It's not about getting personal, your panelists. That's my point. I disagree with that. But you do go hard on the Europeans. I think that's sometimes too much. As the brother said, sometimes the Europeans, of course, they got their own interests, right? The white man got their interests. We have our interests. It's up to us to actually, know what we want and actually act on it. That's what the entire world did. Why can't we do that? And also the tribalism, that is in the belly of a lot of the problem that we have in the country, and also favoritism, not and regionalism, all kind of things that adds up. There's so many layers.
So Al, let me give you an example, right? So now they talk about the fuel subsidy, right? Let me tell you. KPMG, right? Anybody who's in business or who's read a report knows who KPMG is. They're a global accountancy and consultancy firm, right? KPMG. They're like Deloitte, Touche, all those guys, right? Everybody, Ernst & Young or EY, all those people, right? So now here's the thing. KPMG did an audit of the alleged fuel subsidy that the Nigerian National, the NNPCL, claims that they're using. So now the NNPCL initially said they have to pay $6 trillion for the subsidy. When KPMG looked at the numbers, they said, no, it's only 2.8 trillion, not dollars, naira. They said it's only 2.8 trillion. So here's the problem, Al. The subsidy, people are claiming that, no, we're spending all this money on subsidy. They haven't even done an actual audit. And when one company, an international company, did the audit, they said these people are lying about the amount that they claim they're using to subsidize for Nigerians. So we can't have it both ways. If we don't have a legitimate government that gives us pure audits of the numbers, so that way...
Who did it audit? It was the last administration that did that audit.
I just told you, KPMG.
Yes, hold on. They paid, they paid because there were a backlog of payments of subsidy. So they contracted to that company to do the audit so that they would not be real people they are owing. So they came back and said it was just that amount you mentioned. So it was the government that did that.
Al, let me stop you right there, Al. You see, Al, let me finish. Don't say he's right. You're wrong. Al, he's wrong. Stop you, and that's why I said you do the subliminal UK thing. Like you like to side against me. That's okay. You don't have to agree with me. First and foremost, I can post the link. Let me finish, Al. Let me finish. I don't like people. I don't want to call him a liar, but he's wrong. First and foremost, I'm reading it right here from Punch newspaper, which is a nationally known Nigerian newspaper. This is May 9th, 2024, not Buhari's administration. This was said that it was done by KPMG. This was in March 2024. Buhari was long gone. Now, Tinubu came in May 30th, 2023. The reason why they did the audit is because Mele Kyari, who runs the NNPCL, said that the government still owes 2.8 trillion for the petrol subsidy. That's why they did this. So this was recently done. This wasn't done by Buhari. So when these people come on here, when they come on here and tell you this nonsense, and they don't like me for a reason because they're slave traders.
When CBN was paying the backlog of the payment, what did CBN say? He didn't say that if you are not coming with your valid papers and confirm that the government actually owe you this money, they are not going to pay. They are not going to clear this backlog of payment. Is that not what they said?
Yeah.
Al, I'm not talking about that, Al. But Al, don't spin the narrative. I'm not talking about that. I don't care about that. Al, I'm saying again, hold on, Al, hold on, Al. I'm gonna post it. Hold on, Al, wait, Al, listen, I don't like when people do this. I'm gonna post the link in the back chat. If Kaizo's there, maybe he can share it. This was during Tinubu's administration. This wasn't Buhari's administration. This was claimed the 2.8 trillion that was owed. So what I'm saying is that once again, they said they had to remove the subsidy because it was costing Nigeria this much and this much. But the real question was, okay, you're subsidizing this oil for Nigerians to benefit. Where are you getting the subsidy money from?
Post the link of this.
I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it in the back chat. So again, the question is that when they claim to be giving Nigerian people a subsidy, they were not clear. There was no real audit to say this is where your subsidy money is going to. They didn't do that. They just told us that, oh, we're gonna remove it. You don't run a government like that.
Right. No,
you don't run a government like that. That's my point. And when you call this out, these elites and the people who side with the elites will get so goddamn defensive, and it's annoying. They need to stop kissing ass of the elites. Tinubu is never going to give them a contract because you guys kiss their ass online. They don't like you.
You are just screaming. Who are the people in control of the market? Who are the marketer in Nigeria? Are they politicians? Are they not Nigerian citizens who are in the private sector? You may scream, yeah. There are some of your people in your region are involved, are part of the marketer. This idea that okay, is it government that said are they the one importing this thing? So see, all these things are caused by the Nigerians, including the private sector and the government. It is not just one way. Everybody is involved even including the banks in Nigeria. They're involved in the corruption.
Yeah, well, this is the problem. I mean, the reality is, Gazamo, what I think, who is currently running the NNPC? Is that the same person that was there in the last administration? Or is it a new person? Yes.
It's still the old person that was there.
So he knows about what happened and what's going to happen next. And I mean, the government that came into power are obviously the people 90% are responsible for the removal of the subsidy, right? So basically, the only blame I could give to them, if they had the money there, they could have put things in place to minimize the impact of the people. But I think, when they remove subsidy,
people should know that there will be impact because it's a political issue. Just for example, when
exactly, you just answered my question. You just answered my question. You said it's a political issue.
I'm tired of black people not taking responsibility for anything. I'm tired. You understand me? Including myself. We don't take responsibility for anything.
So leave the country. Go be with the white people, man. Get out of here. Stop being with us. Leave us alone.
Political issue. They campaign for more and more. See, what happens is that people should have started restructuring the way they spend their money. Planning for, there will be consequences for this if they remove subsidy.
Al, do you hear what he just said? Al, listen, this is why I don't take these people serious. If the UK, right, when Russian gas was no longer coming to you guys in the UK, didn't your government give people like £300 so they can get gas and heat their homes? Didn't your government? Now, hold on, Al, listen, look at this. The previous administration got 800. The
That's the point
previous,
I was making to him.
he's never going to acknowledge that. But let me finish. The previous administration got $800 million. I mean, $800 million from the World Bank, I believe, to create palliatives to give to the people to ease their troubles during the subsidy removal. The last administration didn't give anybody a penny, and they don't even talk about it anymore. Right now, but look at this. These people will come on and tell you, Nigerians, the poor people who didn't have any money to begin with, they should have sat down there and figured this out. They knew that the government was going to do this. They're useless. But wait a minute, Al. If that's the case, why is it that the same Nigerian leaders did not reduce their spending? Why didn't they say, yo, you know what? We're going to cut everything that we're consuming as senators, as governors, as House of Reps. We're going to cut our spending by 80%. We don't need the money. Our kids are already in the UK and America. We're good. Let's lead from the front. Let's lead by example. They didn't do that. You know what they actually...
Oh, well, anyway, you see, my only problem is there was no things put in place. But you know, the thing is, we can't.
But Al, hold on. Look at this. But Al, look at this. The people he's speaking about, the poor Nigerians, right? He's telling them they should have budgeted, blah blah blah. But the same federal government didn't budget nothing. They've actually increased their expenditure. The same people in office, they bought new cars. They've done more construction for their housing. They didn't do nothing to reduce their expenses, but they're telling the average Nigerian, yo, you better tighten your belt and suffer. What type of government is this, Al? Does that make sense?
Gassamo, hang on. Hold on. Gassamo, what do you think is the solution? Protest and burn down houses and cars or businesses?
I have no concept of a protest. I'm not talking about protesting or any of that silly stuff. What I'm saying is the solution is very simple. I said it. The gentleman, we spoke about this earlier. The elite and the elite copycats have to boycott and create the stomach. I always say it, they have to grow testicles and have testicular. Let me finish the Al, you can respond. They have to have testicular fortitude. That means they have to be men and stop being women and shaking their booties for the IMF and the World Bank and make policy decisions that will benefit their people. Kaizo talked about MMT and how our central bankers can restructure things so that the people on the ground can enjoy and benefit. But again, the African elite and the Africans who support them don't give a damn. As long as their kids can go abroad and they have fancy things, they're A-okay.
No, if there's one point, hang on. If there's one point, I agree with that.
Hold on. I was right.
No, just wait. It's a very quick. Hold on. The only place I agree with you guys is about holding.
Because the federal government has paid for that audit company to audit what I told you, but you said
I didn't say that the federal government didn't. No, that's not what I said. No to. You don't listen. I said
it was not the federal government. I told you
you're a goddamn liar, Al. I can't talk to this guy because he's a freaking liar. I said that it wasn't. No, hold on, Al. No, Al. I don't like liars. He said it was Buhari. I didn't say it was, and I told him he was wrong. It wasn't Buhari. It was Tinubu's administration. Stop freaking talking that shit that you don't know, bro. Keep quiet when people are talking. You said it was Buhari. You're a liar. It was Tinubu's administration. So next time, stop talking when I speak.
Administration, you should have just told me no. It was Tinubu administration. But
listen, I don't need to tell you anything because you didn't know what you were talking about. So you do your research. You didn't know what you was talking about. So stop talking when you don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on. You are just screaming.
I'm screaming because you don't know what you're talking about.
No. I know what I'm talking about. I said it was the government that paid for the.
You said Buhari. You're a liar.
Yes,
play it back. You're a full-fledged liar. You claim Al, you're a good Muslim. Al, you're a good Muslim. Say the truth, Al. You're a good Muslim, Al. This man said it was Buhari, Al. Say the truth, Al. Al, before the Quran. Say the truth, Al. Did he not say it was all Buhari, Al?
I said Buhari government. Is that what it is? Then you correct me. It was Tinubu government. You know,
yes.
Al, say the truth. What did this man say?
He said Buhari's government, and you said it It wasn't during Buhari. It was during this current administration. But however,
What I'm saying is you should have just
UFC,
correct me. No, it was
no,
Tinubu government.
UFC haven't
When I
finished.
say it was Buhari government, it's a
Oh
simple
my God.
correction. No,
UFC,
Tinubu government. We
UFC.
move on. Which one you are just screaming.
UFC. Sometimes you got to learn things as a man, not to interrupt another man when they speak. All I'm saying is where UFC is right is he did say it was a government commission to actually
but I didn't argue with that, Al. I didn't argue that.
You did.
Al, play it back. Al, play it back. I said, Al, listen, KPMG, I said KPMG is a private institution. I didn't say, Al, listen, goddamn, I know what I said. I didn't say that, no, the government didn't authorize KPMG to do it. I said that, Al, NNPCL, which is ran Al. No, Al, listen, because this is hold on. I'm chill. You don't need to tell me chill. Listen, what I don't like what you do, Al, like that's why I said it's the subliminal shit. He said, because you said, is it Kele Miyari? I said, who runs NNPCL? I said, it's this guy Miyari, whatever his name is.
That's before this. That's before that.
Al, listen.
That's him up.
I did not, Al. No, I'm not gonna listen. Al, I'm not listening to you. I'm calm. Don't tell me to calm down. I'm good, bro. I don't like it. You do that UK thing, and that's why, whatever. Y'all UK dudes is funny style. At the end of the day, listen, that's how y'all get down. It is what it is. I know how y'all get down. Y'all funny style. Your man, your friend over there said what he said, and I told him I didn't argue whether it was done by the government or how can KPMG just audit Nigeria? No, I said, Al, that's not what I said. I said, Al, you know what? Listen. The playback is there. The playback is there. Listen. The playback is there. Everybody can play it back. If you listening on the chat, just go back about 15 minutes and listen to what I said. Everybody, no, I'm not. Let me finish. Everybody can play it back and they can hear what was said. I did not say that the Nigerian government did not set the audit. This clown was telling me. This guy was telling me that it wasn't Tinubu's government. It was Buhari's government. That's the problem.
That's more.
Simple correction would have just solved it, but you like to prolong and talk and feel you are not the owner of the platform. Please.
That's them up. You see one more time. I'm going to repeat it. I'm not going to say anything. Right? You said that it was commissioned under the Buhari government, and that wasn't true. Eventually, it was found out it wasn't under the Buhari. However, that's them up denied. It was a government commission. He said it was done by a private company, not by the government.
Thank you.
So
Al, you're a fucking liar. How could I have said that? How could I have said that, Al? It doesn't make sense because the NNPCL books, KPMG can't walk in there and get the books. You don't know what you're talking about.
That's him up.
You don't know what? Listen, Al. Listen. Al. Listen.
Move on.
Going forward, Al. Listen. Going forward, I think we should just Al. Listen. Going forward, I think we should just limit our interaction with each other because I don't like the phoniness and it is what it is. You are who you are. I am who I am. But you do your thing. You don't need to interact with me no more. I don't do the phoniness, and it is what it is. All you UK dudes, y'all one man, two Niger, y'all play this phony shit that y'all do. Y'all not straightforward, and I don't deal with men who ain't straightforward. Pause. So it is what it is. I'm not upset at you, bro. But going forward, you don't need to interact with me. I won't interact with you because you are who you are, bro. You are who you are. It's cool. I'm not upset. That's who you are, bro. I'm not upset. That's who you are.
I'll take it beneath my feet. But what I'm saying is, right?
Listen, I don't need you. You don't need to speak with me no more, Al. We good, Al. You could direct your comments to somebody else. Thank you. Talk to him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy is a dickhead. But anyway, what I'm
I know. Okay. That's why your girls love me.
Oh yeah. Keep loud. Oh dear. What a disaster.
Thank you, Kaizo. That's how the Nigerians on these platforms, the Africans, gas them up. I say something that makes sense and they get mad because they want to be rich. They think they're gonna be Dangote.
Oh God, he's still rambling. What's wrong with this guy? Oh God, fuck's sake. But anyway, you know what? It's sometimes when you're right, yeah, you have just put your hands up. When you're wrong, put your hands up. That's what makes it man. There's no
Yo,
point
bro,
arguing
I
about
don't need
things
you
when
to
you're
tell me
wrong.
what it is to
Yeah,
be a man. I don't need you to describe what it is to be a man. You don't define what it is, because if you was really on some man time, half of the bullshit that you do with the subliminal ways you talk and you side with these dudes, you wouldn't be doing that. You be on that BS, man. But I get it. Y'all UK dudes, that's how y'all get down, man. I don't have time for the phony. I don't do with the phony, bro. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
If I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong.
I
It's
am
as simple
glad.
as ABCD.
I am
We don't
glad
need
we're
to
live.
see.
I'm glad that we're
If
live.
it's
Everyone
okay to
can
be
hear
wrong
this.
at times,
Everyone heard you, Gazimo. Everyone heard what you said.
Bro,
Everyone had
listen,
this
I'm good,
conversation.
man. Everybody
For
did
you
not
to-
hear me.
for you to
Everybody
carry
not
on-
hear me. That's why I said, listen,
For you to
I'm
carry
on
on
YouTube
talking
right
like
now.
that,
This
like
how I know
this,
you're a
alright?
liar.
You're a
I'm
dickhead.
I'm on YouTube right now on my other side, on my other device, and I just played it back. I did not say that. So if you don't go play it back, and I want you to, after the stream is over, go in the comment section and put the minute, because you're a liar, where I said exactly that the Nigerian government, go put it in there where I said, no. I want you to put them, hold on. Go in there. Hold on. I want you to go, hold on. Listen. I want you,
I said it was the Buhari
listen. I'm not talking about that. No. Listen. I want you to, when this stream is over, I just played it back on my other device. So that's how I know niggas, y'all motherfuckers is liars. Go and put in the exact minute Gas Them Up said that this was done privately by KPMG and KPMG only. Go and put it in the comment section. And if you can put that, I will send you, hold on, I will send you $20. You put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I'll send you $20. Put the exact timestamp after the stream is over.
The same thing again.
You said that. You said that in defense of what UFC said. You said that in defense. Listen to me. I'm not a dummy. You said
no. I just said no. Listen. No. I'm not listening to you, bro. Once again, for those who are in the chat room, if you have another device, go back about 15 to 20 minutes and listen. If Gas Them Up said that the Nigerian, that KPMG did the audit without anybody's help, they just audited it by themselves, I stand corrected. But I know I just played it back that I did not say that. He tried to, when I said KPMG is doing an audit of the books of NNPCL, he now said, no, it was Buhari's administration. And that's when I said, yo, this guy's a liar. That is done by Tinubu's administration. And I posted the article. I said, I'm reading the article, and I posted it. Now they're trying to spin the narrative. So once again, after this, so again, listen, we can end it right now. Listen, we can end it and move on. Hold on, we can end it. I know, but we can end it. Listen, I'm holding on. We can end it. Listen.
Hold on.
Listen. Hold on. Wait. No. Listen. Hold on. I'm gonna make it easy for.
Kaiser said if you pay 50. Kaiser said if you pay $50, you rewind it for us so everyone can hear it.
Listen. I'm not doing any of that. When this stream is over, both of you go play it back. You guys are gangsters. You're men. Put in this is when you said exactly that it was only a private enterprise, that KPMG did it on their own. Post it. If you cannot do that, then you guys are flat out liars. So that's it. Because that this was an audit by KPMG that you guys, I talked about Deloitte, I talked about Ernst & Young, E&Y. I just played it back. And then I said that, and I kept quiet, and I didn't say nothing. And then I said, this guy's a liar, that it was done by Tinubu's administration.
Right,
and I posted the link in the chat.
Enough for that rubbish. Enough for that rubbish. Thank you. But okay, Kaiser, Kaiser, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
What I was gonna say, did Kenya actually look around for other buyers in the continent, like people like Dangote or other South African or other African philanthropists or African billionaires to see if they could put that 1 billion down instead of going to the other people?
Yeah, that's a good point. Honestly, I haven't. I looked for that information, but I couldn't find it. This was kind of like a hush hush sort of deal that just sort of happened behind closed doors. The Senate, the Parliament, they all claim this deal never even came through to them. So it was actually a whistleblower who kind of released this deal. So when Kenyans found out, they went and protested it. But yeah, I don't think they released it publicly. It was a very private sort of deal, and I think the reason why they chose Adani Group, maybe they have a good track record. But honestly, I do think like it's embarrassing that a whole country can't find $1.8 billion to renovate the airport. It's actually embarrassing, man. It basically
Yeah,
means
yeah,
it's literally insane. TikTok's GDP is higher than Kenya's GDP will ever be.
wow,
One company, just TikTok.
wow.
So, but Kaiser, I'm reading this stuff right here, right? Kaiser, I'm
Okay.
reading it right here, and it does seem to be something that was done internally because they did not, like you said, they didn't make this public, and there was no bid for the part of the airport. So what that tells you, once again, this is the type of corruption that goes on in Africa, where a group in power are looking for, and that's why I said, Kaiser, the cause of corruption, right, in Africa is because in order to get rich, you have to be tied to the government. It's not like the UK, it's not like the US, it's not like other countries around the world where you can create a market product, right? And you can take it to the market. You just mentioned TikTok. You can, there are people who are making decent money on TikTok shops and TikTok affiliate networks and blah blah blah. So the ability to do that in Africa is missing. And not only is it missing, in order to create generational wealth, you'll see, for example, there are multimillionaires in the United States who make their money from real estate, from tech, who aren't even in the top, 30,000 richest Americans, but they're very comfortable, and their children's children will also be very comfortable. They own their house outright. They pay off their property taxes. They have access to other businesses, and they're good, and they're quite comfortable, and they're nowhere near the level of extreme wealth and power that like a Tesla is. That doesn't exist in Africa. It's very difficult for a guy to have his Bora Bora and own like 20 Bora Boras and be good for the next generation after him. That doesn't happen. If he doesn't take that money and tap into politics, he's never going to get stupendously wealthy. And that has to be tackled. And that's why I was interested when you mentioned MMT and central banking, and we talked about the Magi Restoration. Where's the unique ideas? Where are the visionaries that are coming out of Africa to say, look, we got new solutions, not the IMF playbook, not the World Bank playbook. Where are the new solutions that we can put forward that can really take our economy away from the euro dollar dependency, away from the commodity dependency? Because everybody talks about Congo and Nigeria, we have all these resources. It's a lie. We don't have any of these resources, because at the end of the day, in order to materialize that resource as liquid cash, you must still sell your products on the Western market. I'll give you a perfect example. Ghana is formerly known as the Gold Coast. Ghana has all this gold, right? Zimbabwe has a lot of gold. But here's the thing, that's the funny part. Do you guys know that the price of gold is not set by the free market? The price of gold is actually set in London. You can Google this, literally.
Right.
The price of gold is set in London, fixed. This is not a free market. Hold on, Al, let me talk to Kaiser real quick. So Al, Kaiser, this is not a free market. So now when the African sees, yeah, I have gold, it's business, 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 he goes on the market thinking, yeah, my gold. And then he gets a shitty deal. But that shitty deal gives him, let's say, $20 million. So now that $20 million, he's the king of Zamunda. He's the king in Lagos. He's the king in Mombasa. He's the king in Nairobi, right? He's the king, but he's really a peon. So this is the truth. The truth is that we don't have a way to escape that commodity debt cycle and the euro dollar cycle. We have to come up with unique and creative ways. And that's why I keep talking about the Magi Restoration in Japan, because if we don't figure out a creative way for us to say, okay, how do we tap into our resources? How do we get liquidity? How can we become liquid? How can our markets expand so that people can become very rich and wealthy outside of state involvement? We're always going to have to sell out to the West. We're always going to have to do it because we don't have any other alternative. So I want to hear your thoughts on that, Kaiser. How do we create these alternatives for our markets?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, right? So yeah, I think just to kind of make it clear, right? City of London is not the same as London City, right? It is actually another city, which is a financial stock exchange, central of the world, which is City of London. It's within London, right? But it's a separate thing. or
Yes,
the
a separate
Southeast.
corporation. Yes.
They even have the basically the
It,
Queen's
it, it
Guard.
doesn't it doesn't belong to the UK neither. It's a global thing.
Right.
It's,
So
it could be
it's own.
Yeah, even
it can be
Kaiser,
moved
you know
anywhere in the world.
the British Crown cannot enter the territory of London without permission from I forgot the person's the
From the
position,
governor,
but they
the
can.
ruler.
Yeah, they can't just enter. Yeah, they got to ask permission first.
Yeah, so it's his own kind of sovereign own entity whereby they control the financial stock exchange in the world, right? Forget New York, it's actually done in the city of London. Yeah, that's an interesting question that you're adding there, right? Because as you mentioned, right? I mean, look, let's go through the obvious problems in Africa that we have. One of them is the most simplest one, right? Most countries in Africa, I don't think there's any country apart. Nigeria, I think right now is finally claims to have hit whereby they export more than they import by like a couple million, right? But every country, more or less in Africa, we import more than we export. That basically means we, especially the middle class, right, we're dependent on Western goods and services. Nigeria right now is manufacturing cars, yet even the government workers are going to be, bring in Mercedes and all these cars from abroad. And these, again, are government workers. You can't even patronize your own companies within the government itself, right? So we basically, again, do this on purpose, and it's a middle class that's actually
No, but Kaizo, we got to address that though, right? I'm glad you mentioned the Nigerian Innocent. Here's the problem: Innocent is going to come out with a vehicle, right? That he'll tell you, look, you got to spend literally the equivalent of, let's say, like 10 to 20,000 US dollars, right, to get his car. One, the type of salary that the average Nigerian civil servant is making, they can't afford it. So if they choose, Kaizo, between an Innocent car or a fairly used Toyota coming from somewhere in Europe, or well, not depending on where they drive, what side of the road they drive on, in America or Europe, they're going to choose that fairly used Toyota. Now the question is, now I'm glad you mentioned him. If you sat Innocent down and said, "Hey, Innocent, you're a smart guy. You have a car. You ever heard of Henry Ford?" And he said, "Yes, I've heard of Henry Ford. I'm a big Nigerian man." Okay. Do you know that Henry Ford made his car so affordable that every American was able to buy one, and he paid his workers a wage so that every Ford worker could at least have 2 Fords in their house? So, Mr. Innocent, why can't you copy Ford and make your cars more affordable and structure your cars in such a way that they're good for the Nigerian road so that you can get more consumption locally for your cars? What do you think Innocent or any African big man will tell you if you told them to copy Henry Ford? What do you think he'll tell you, Kaiser?
Well, okay, so they're going to be against it, obviously, right? They're not going to do it. There's several reasons why, but let's assume good faith, right? Let's assume Innocent is actually a good guy. He's innocent, right? He actually wants to do the whole Henry Ford situation. The problem is, as we've seen and we keep seeing all over the place, Africa is cannibalistic. The moment you start trying to now reduce the cost, the government itself is putting crazy taxes on you even before you open up a successful, profitable business. Like in the UK, for example, one of my companies is incorporated there, right? It costs what? £13 to open a company. When do you do the taxes? You do it like 9 months later. In Africa, you have to pay all the cost up front. It's going to cost you around, depending on the business, right, up to $500 to $1,000 to open a company. That's just to open it, right? Now, to operate it, all these licenses, the police come over, the city council guys come over. They're just harassing you for small change. So one of the issues, and you're right, look, I agree with you, right? There is this whole big manism whereby they want to create elitist sort of products. But let's assume that Innocent even wanted to make his products available for the average Nigerian. I believe it's so difficult because think about it, right? Again, Dangote is a rich guy, but let's assume, the logic is similar. He had to pay $100 million US in dollars in order to acquire the land that they built that refinery on. The government owns land. They can give it to you for free if they really want it. They can make you pay back.
But Kaiser, here's the problem. But Kaiser, look at the problem. But Kaiser, look at this from Innocent. I agree with you. Let's say he's a good guy, right? But now my problem with Innocent is this. For example, if I'm not mistaken, Kaiser, look at this. I think if I'm not mistaken, was it Hyundai or one of those companies? They actually started as a motorcycle company, right? So my problem with Innocent is this. You might have to scale back your ambition, and instead of making the type of cars that you want to make, maybe you create an ATV concept car. You structure it so that it can fit the Nigerian roads, because we have devastating roads with potholes. Whenever it rains, it turns to swimming pools, all kind of stuff, right? So you use an ATV concept, you make it you redesign an ATV basically, give space so that, shout out to Phil, we talk about this all the time, the or wherever in any village in Nigeria, they can get their products from the wet market and bring it to the actual market, manufacturing your car because you're using a smaller model and you're making a smaller car for local consumption. You can still make your high-end luxury car. So Innocent can say, you know what, I'm going to do one like that's a Lexus for my, elites of Nigeria and make a Lexus for them and that they can consume. And then I'm going to scale down. Yeah,
let me add that, right? For them to do that, Nigeria will actually have, okay. Nigeria, let me go there and come back. We keep talking about Africa's population and all this stuff. Great, right? They have manpower, right? That means cheap labor because you have food, you have land, you have, affordable housing, etc. Right? In theory, what that basically means is, right? If Nigeria actually had a profitable, right? Profitable just means you're not losing money, steel industry, then they could do exactly what you're saying. And again, they still can't gas them up. I'm not saying they can't. I'm talking about the tuk-tuk. If you come all the way to East Africa, actually most countries in the world, especially so-called global South countries, right? Go to Somalia, to Kenya, Tanzania, all these countries, literally a motorcycle with an extra wheel, so it becomes a tricycle that is extremely cheap on fuel, and it is designed to actually work on African roads. They don't have good suspension. The fact that they can carry goods, all these Coca-Cola stuff, they're all basically carried on tuk-tuks. So yeah, 100%, gas them up. If they had vision, they'll create a very unique solution to a problem. Right?
Think about that. A tuk-tuk, a Bora Bora, a keke can really be reutilized so that, the average civil servant can buy a decent looking tuk-tuk as opposed to importing the fairly used Toyota. And you can have safety standards with seatbelts and, you test it with brakes and everything. You can make it just like that and make it affordable. And if you look at it, Kaizo, within 3 years, the kind of money you'll generate from doing that, you'll now be able to take that money to spend it on research and development for an even better car. Isn't that what Tata did?
True. That's exactly what Tata did. Then he went
So Kaizo, this is why I attack the Nigerians, especially on these platforms, because when I start talking like this, they don't care about this. What they want is, as James in the chat said, they want payday loan type business deals. They don't want serious deals. They don't want to sit down there and get off the breast milk of the West.
Yeah, you know what? You're 100% right there, right? Like lack of vision, foresight, just being able to do things, right? As you mentioned, right? You can innovate a tuk-tuk design, as you mentioned, with ATV vehicles, right? Put 4 wheels in there, low consumption, especially for city, right? Think about it, right? Most Africans these days, if you go to Lagos, you're not driving so fast within Lagos City. You're driving rather slow. So you don't need these expensive cars that guzzle so much fuel. You could literally design something, even electric, if you really wanted to, right? And dual.
You can even put the natural gas, Kaizo. Kenya, Nigeria, a lot of these places, they have natural gas in abundance. You can make those cars natural gas efficient. So that way I can, use natural gas.
100%, right? So I think honestly, you mentioned, I want to tie this back into what you said earlier, right? In Africa, unfortunately, the way things stand is that we don't really have any so-called self-made billionaires who are not just trading in consumables, right? Dangote become rich because he trades in cement, sugar, rice, oil, things which are basically consumables. We don't have any African billionaires who are investing in, let's say, innovative practices. I think that has to change, right? We have literally
innovation.
Zero. None of them, right? A couple billionaires here and there trying, right? But billionaires, zero. If you could find me one Black African billionaire investing in an innovative product that's not fintech or oil or gas or
It
food.
doesn't exist. You know
The
why,
only place you
Kaizo?
might find that in maybe in South Africa, but I don't know any other part from
Guys,
sub-Saharan
you know
Africa.
why it would be difficult for that? And that's why I said the cause of corruption in Africa is, as you said, in order to get rich, in whether I'm in Kenya, whether I'm in Nigeria, I have to be tied to the government. The government model is the only way to get stupendously wealthy for the generations. And so, what has to now happen is that the Nigerian and Kenyan elite have to make a decision. Do we continue doing the way we've been doing? Or do we change our model and say, hey, look, what's the new way of us interacting? How do we take and reverse engineer what we're getting from the West and making it our own? These kind of conversations they don't want to have. I mean, I've been on these platforms and we've had these. I really, but I don't want to go too deep in that, Kaiser, because they know about it. I want to hear
But,
your thoughts on central bank policy, Kaiser. I want to hear
yeah,
more
before
your
before we
idea
move
on
on
the
to that,
MMT.
staying on the
Because Kaiser, you
airport
always
bit.
talk about the MMT. I really, but Kaiser, he owes me that conversation. I really want
Yeah,
to hear
we're
your
gonna have
thoughts
it.
on
But
MMT,
Yeah,
Kaiser,
we'll
because
set it up. We'll set
Well,
it up. Let
sorry,
me.
Kaiser. Kaiser. 1 second. I don't know why, Kenyan government did not find another option. Because I'll give a good example. In Sierra Leone, our last government that was there, the last president that's currently in Nigeria, he actually done some disgusting deal with the Chinese to build the airport in Freetown. And when this our president, the one that's in power now, because he looked at it, he's like, nah, this is wrong. There's no way we'll let the Chinese have so much power and give them all that money. And he changed the deal because this one here is a smart guy who wanted to save money, unlike the previous president. So it all depends on how they deal with these deals. See? So
Al,
what he did is he gave it.
the reason why
One
that
second,
happened.
1 second. He gave it to a Turkish company, I think, to build the airport. And if you look at the airport that we have in Freetown today, it's beautiful airport in all international standards. So I am really shocked, Kenya actually went, and I'm disappointed to be honest.
It's a very simple solution, and again, it ties back to, in order to get rich, a government worker in Africa will sell out his government assets because that's his golden ticket for retirement. So Kaizo, that 1 point something $billion, I guarantee you that money's going to be split amongst 30 groups across different ethnic lines. So you got some
And in
Kikuyus
the
who are going to get
parliament.
paid. You got some
Yes,
Luos,
yes.
you got some Luas, and you got some what's the Kalajin? You got the whole mafia that's gonna get their cut from that money, Kaiser. I guarantee you, if they do an
So,
audit, that money's
you
gonna
know what?
go into those hands.
You know what's sad actually is this money is not going to, and I didn't want to kind of bring this up, but this money is unlikely to actually go towards the renovation of the airport. This money is basically
Oh my
acting, right,
God.
the airport is acting as a collateral, right, with the title deed that's going to be given to the Adani Group, right, for those
Wow.
30 years until the money's paid back, right. As I said, this money is not going to go to renovating the airport. This money is for the government to basically loan, get a cheap loan, right? Whereby they're going to do whatever it is that they're going to do with it. I'm not going to comment about the corruption or anything, right? But
Yeah, I don't
what
want
I'm
you in
saying,
trouble. That's why I said it. I said it for you as the Nigerian, so they can come after me. So I don't want you in trouble. You back home. I don't want you having any beef. But I really want you
Yeah,
to
it's
talk
I
true.
about the MMT, Kaizo, and how African central banks can utilize MMT as a way to, you know, stop the euro dollar dependency. And I'll end with this. I don't know if you guys are following. Zimbabwe just pegged their currency to their gold, and their
yeah,
currency is actually outperforming now. So is that a way, using MMT and commodity pegs, is that a way for African central banks to strengthen their currency? So let's say, the Congo was a great, a well-run country. All their resources, could they use a basket of their commodities and peg their currency to that basket utilizing MMT? Could Nigeria do the same with their lithium and their petroleum? Could Kenya do the same? I want to hear your thoughts on that.
yeah. Okay, so let me. I won't go too in depth in this, right? I'll have to do like a separate show. It'll get confusing for everyone listening. But
Well,
I will
send
say,
me an email. We could plan the show. Send me an email. We'll invite the people who really will respond. People like Phil and people who really add to the topic,
yeah,
and we could do a great
for
show on
sure.
that.
100%, 100% for sure. So let me just answer your question though, right? So if you look at scientific research, it takes around, everyone talk about graphene and all these new potential things. There's sodium ion batteries, which will be cheaper since sodium is abundant. You just find it in the ocean, right? However, it doesn't have the same capacity as lithium ion batteries. What I'm trying to say is lithium is not going to be replaced anytime soon. So any country that has abundance of lithium, we're talking about Nigeria, Congo, we're talking about Southern African countries like Zimbabwe. These countries have leverage in the international so-called market, right? There's nothing that the international market can do because they need this resource. Because every time they're always innovating, right? Anything, electric cars, all these innovations, especially if you're looking at the fact that with this whole new carbon zero, initiative, everything is going to have to be reduced. So anything that can create batteries for storage of energy is going to be a very useful commodity, right? The price of lithium has literally quadrupled and several times over in the last 10 years alone. I'm trying to build something here. What I'm trying to say is this, right? If you listen to IMF and all these sort of World Bank and all these international monetary systems, they're going to tell you old defunct capitalist sort of ways to govern yourselves that don't work in any country.
Milton Friedman style, Chicago school.
It doesn't work anymore. So what you really need is, right, like as I said this before, gold is quite useful because the World Bank uses gold as a reserve, right? The America, UK, all these countries use it as a reserve. That's good. That's always like a standard, right? That's why it's called the gold standard. However, for countries like Nigeria, as I mentioned, Congo, Zimbabwe, all these countries with lithium, what they should do is put the value added versions of these minerals in the stock exchange, whether it's Lagos, Congo doesn't have one, right? So they can put it in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Zimbabwe can put it in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the largest one in Africa, really large actually, and they can actually peg their currency to these commodities, right? These are not regular commodities. These are commodities that basically, if African countries were able to leverage like what Russia did, they will be able to withstand any sort of.
They can withstand the SWIFT. If they take them off the SWIFT network, they can withstand.
Exactly, right? That is so simple, right? Russia was a perfect example of how, if you use leverage from things that everybody else needs to survive, there's nothing that they can do against you, right? Obviously, there's military and all that stuff, but that's irrelevant for this sort of conversation. My point is simple, right? That can be done, right? And of course, with MMT, if again, as a central bank, you have the power to issue your currency, you can print money, right? Again, Europeans will tell you, oh no, you can't. Well, actually, you can. You can print money, use that money for labor, right? For paying people. Again, what are people using to consume? They're using food and housing, things that already exist in your country. It's not like they're going to be purchasing stuff from abroad, right? Or anything that's going to lessen, create more problem. What you do is you print money, you pay people the money, they create these things, whether it's buildings, industry, or whatever. Then guess what? Now, since you're trading within yourselves, you can sell these things and earn that money back, and then increase taxes if you really want for short term, get that money back, burn it, whatever it is you want to do with it, and your economy stabilize. It is not complicated. America does this. Now, again, me saying America does this is not unique, and I know America is a special case. The reason I'm saying it is because we are listening to them about our economic systems, yet they're not doing it, right? There was this great video, I'm going to find it, right? But basically, Biden's top financial advisor was asked about MMT. Basically, the guy didn't, I don't know if the guy knew he was asking about MMT, but he started answering about how the Federal Reserve just prints money. What do you think the Silicon Valley is what do you think the money comes from?
Well, Kaiser, here's the funny part, right? I'll tell you this. Do you know, I was doing a deep dive into the research. Do you know that the Federal Reserve actually doesn't really, quote unquote, they're not even printing money anymore, right? If you look at M2 or M3, the real people who are actually making money move and circulate in the U.S. economy in particular, and most developed economies, are actually the banks.
Yeah.
The banks are the real intermediaries for real currency circulation. So so now
digital currency,
exactly
printing real. Yeah, that's the euro.
Yeah. So now the question is that the banks in Africa, and the top strongest banks, majority of them are in South Africa. Nigeria is not even as big as the economy of Nigeria is. Nigeria doesn't even have their own number 15, their largest bank. is number 15 in Africa, right? So that tells you how low the purchasing power and the actual consumption power of the Nigerian individual is. So they have a lot of people, but their people don't have a high purchasing or consuming power. But the real thing is the African the central banks have to find a way to strengthen African banks so that African banks can do what? They can be able to expand, like you said, currency, and that would mean more short-term lending for individuals and businesses, which would create jobs. Now, as they see the economy is getting a little too high, they can notify the central banks to say, look, you might want to start raising interest rates slowly, or you might want to start finding ways to remove liquidity from the market, so the government can say, okay, well, you know what, and that's where Keynesianism comes into play, right? So that's that interaction. So the government now says, well, okay, we don't necessarily want to raise interest rates, but what we can do is we can perhaps raise tariffs or taxes, find a way to remove liquidity from the economy, and then we can, the central bank can make a policy decision to raise interest rates. So this tinkering of the economy can be done on an African level, as you're saying. The problem is, I guarantee you, all our central bankers that were taught in London and the United States, they all followed that Milton Friedman School of Economics. And that's why I was so pissed, Kaiser. I don't know if you've been following. The Nigerian government, they removed the oil subsidy, the fuel subsidy, right? Which is what the people pretty much utilize. So like allegedly it cost, let's just say, I don't want to give you, because the numbers are in Naira, but let's just say it cost about 100 Kenyan shilling to produce oil in Nigeria. And so they're claiming that the Nigerian government is now having to subsidize this, and so that the oil is not sold at 100 Kenyan shilling, it's sold at like 40 Kenyan shilling. And the Nigerian government has been paying this 60 shilling difference, right? One, there's never been a real audit to say, well, where's that money going to? Who are they paying that to, right? That's one. Second, the real question is, why is it so expensive to produce the fuel in the first place? You have 4 refineries. Why is it so expensive for us to get the oil, right? No one wants to fix that part. To fix the refineries and make the refineries work, that's another conversation. Then, if they remove the subsidy, which again, like I said, an audit, and that's why I mentioned KPMG, when they do the audit, they said this is BS. Most of the numbers are heavily inflated. This is nonsense, right? So they remove this and they tell the people, you guys should have known that we were going to do this to you and it's your fault in this. But right now, the current administration, not only did they remove the subsidy, they didn't cut their spending. What the current administration did, they've gone on a spending spree, not for infrastructure, but for themselves. They made sure they got new cars. They started doing new construction in the government villa. The state senators, governors, House of Reps, they all make sure they got an increase in salary. All this stuff, right, Kaizo? And so it's just like, how do you have a serious government and they remove the subsidy? And I'm only saying that to say, these same governments, like you said, they'll listen to the white man and he tells them, remove your subsidy because it's not good for free markets, and the externalities, they start using big words. And I guarantee most of these Africans don't even know the big words that are in the room when they're being thrown around to them. They just say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir. They don't know what the hell the white guy's saying. But if you go to the white guy's country, the UK, Netherlands, Holland, Sweden, Switzerland, the United States, these are heavily subsidized economies. The USDA subsidizes farmers in the United States. That's how we get free lunch, free breakfast for kids in school. I'm sure they have a free food program in the UK for kids in school, if you make below a certain income level, right? Yeah, so my thing is, it's the craziest thing. They will tell these African leaders, don't subsidize your economy, but in their countries, everything is subsidized. So that's why I was kind of laughing when the guy said, yo, the Nigerian, in my state in Nigeria, the medical industry is great. You can do brain surgery. It's affordable. But then if you ask him, well, how come you don't see any Nigerian politician doing any type of medical practice on themselves in Nigeria? They all run into the UK and America. No one can answer that.
Mm-hmm.
So you see what I'm saying? Like it's baffling and it's frustrating because I think the African elites are not prepared or ready to really take the stand and do what they got to do to fix things for Africa. But look, I don't want to take too much of time. I'm gonna bow out, man. I just want to shout you out. Appreciate you having this topic. It was a great topic. If we want, I think we could do a good show on MMT and commodity pegging. Pause. With the Magi Restoration, so we can take a deep dive into Japan and talk about all those three things, and see how Africa can utilize that, because some of them in power might be listening to these shows, and it might give them an opportunity to do something different. But I appreciate all of you on the panel. Shout out to all of you guys, man. Shout out to you, Kaizo.
No. Peace. Shut up, man. Yeah, it was a good conversation. I'm not sure if everyone else wants to kind of give their last statements. We're going to close it in early today. Yeah, let me know. And also shout out to Flexed Up for the $5 super chat. African uncles arguing on a conference call. And of course, Jan Zola for the $10 super chat. I do appreciate the support and peace and white power. Welcome to the Kaizorian experience. Over here, we're going to be talking about everything African. We're going to be having debates, discussions, entertainment, as well as learning about business, art, history, and everything in between. Cultural, tribalism, and everything. We're going to be out here debating with some really interesting stuff. So like the video, share the video, and make sure you subscribe. Subscribe for the best experience ever. This is the biggest channel on the Afrosphere. So come and join the team, become a Kaizorian, and join the Kaizorian Empire. Universally exist within myself, within this premise, and I exist within this bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like the blue in the sky. I'ma fly like bird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma throw my bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fight like bluebird in the sky. I'ma eat like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Back again like the second coming. Strumming my vocal cords like the hummingbird in the sky. Y'all can't deny this. Real rap lyrics, it's like I ain't got no rhyming through the sky limit. What is skin tone, shade of color, but a parallel form of